Welcome to another edition of Banter and Babble. I'm the Dude79, and joining me always, my esteemed colleague, Mr. Fanboytone. Mr. Fanboytone, what's up?
It's middle of the week.
It's Wednesday, hump day.
B&B day.
B&B day.
That means the slide to the weekend tomorrow
Yes.
officially starts.
We begin our quest to the weekend. We're downward slope. Tricky Region, thank you so much for that subscription. Much appreciated, sir. Everyone's, yeah, there we go. Claim 7 Dungeons already going for the win. Appreciate that. Thank you so much, Half-Ass Beer Review, for those bits. And before we get into this beefy show, which we have a lot of good content, speaking of Half-Ass Beer Review.
Beefy.
I still think, let's see, I still think there's some audio issues. Tone still sounds like a dry queef. He sure does.
Can we get Blanco on timeout, please, for that language?
Nope, we're actually going to, we're going to make him a master mod. So there you go. Congratulations, dude.
It's true, Jay McKenzie. We had a little mess down here, and he ran out of paper towels. So.
Yeah, I shit my pants. Hey, I'm over 40. You're allowed to do that at least 3 times, 4 times a week.
It's the whitest shit I've ever seen.
It was bad. It was pretty nasty. But, Tone, speaking of Half-Ass Beer Review.
Yes.
You went on a short trip with Half-Ass this weekend.
Yeah,
just a little jump across the state.
Just a little cross state lines kind of thing.
State lines to the cornfield.
Yeah, to fucking the great cornfields of Indiana.
Oh, boy.
We went on a little beer quest side quest this weekend. He had to pick up his small order from 450 North Brewing Company, and you're going to see these slides here. So to kick it off there, that is a honey sriracha chicken pizza. And let me tell you something. If you guys have me on either social media or know me personally, I can tell you right now, there's the new album cover right there. Album cover is going to be out November 9th. Make sure to also pre-order that. That pizza is legitimately, and I mean this wholeheartedly when I say this,
right up there with Little Caesars.
The best pizza I've ever had. So yes,
right with Little Caesars.
It is literally the best pizza I've ever had. Blanco,
Damn.
You better knock that shit off.
It
was absolutely delicious. It had the honey drizzle that was right on the crust. Now this is an oven baked pizza, for the record.
Oven baked.
So when you take a bite of it, you get all the mozz, the sriracha, the chicken, the jalapenos, and then it's a special ranch they use with this as well too. And then you get that honey drizzle right off the crust to like wash it with. I'm telling you right now, it is legitimately the best pizza I've ever had. So yeah, that was amazing. The appetizers you see roll through here as well too. We knew that we wanted to try some appetizers, so we got their homemade cheese curds with their homemade marinara sauce, which was mind-blowing. And of course, as everybody knows, I'm a huge pretzel fan.
Yes, you are.
The pretzel was the size of a small steering wheel and came on a hook, but with homemade pub cheese and homemade ground mustard, spicy ground
spicy mustard.
It was delectable, to say the least. There's our flights we both had. We got 4 different beers.
Ooh.
That Dole Whip there, second to the right there, was pretty amazing. It's basically like drinking a pineapple upside-down cake.
Wow.
So, and these slushies, and I know Half-Ass can elaborate a little bit more. The slushies, it's a lot of flavors going on. They'll have lactose in some of them as well, too. It's a lot of flavors. It was really quite an experience. This is a brewery literally about a half-hour south of Indianapolis. So it's about a 6-hour drive, maybe more
there
if you're
and
doing
back.
Stops. Yeah, one way.
6 hours. So you're on the road for 12 hours.
On the road for 12 hours or more. So
what's the over-under on handies that Half-Ass got while he was driving? I'm going to set it at 19. Over-under. We'll pick a winner at the end of the show, whoever comes closest.
Sounds great. But yes, thank you to those folks. We had, I believe Sally was our waitress. She was phenomenal. She recommended the blueberry of the one of the drinks I had, and it was amazing. Overall, it was a great experience. It was their 9-year anniversary. They do some amazing brews. Check them out on Instagram if you get a chance. We got an Instagram, 450 North Brewing Company. They do a lot of special themed beers. This weekend, their event was for Scooby-Doo. It was all Scooby themed.
Scooby snacks.
That shot right there, God, it's so beautiful. But yeah, had a great time. Very thankful that Half-Ass and I can sometimes do these sort of things when there's time to fit it in. It was a good time as always. Great conversation. Got a little bit of content in there. Watch for this Friday, I believe.
Ooh.
The video of this will drop.
Video's dropping
as well too. So
There we go. Awesome. Hey, there's Freezy. What's going on, baby? Ant House Beats is in the chat, and if you weren't listening before the show, which you should have been, that was Ant House Beats' latest album, Stream Vibes, available now. iTunes, Spotify, fucking everywhere they put good music is where you can find Ant House Beats' latest album. Make sure you check it out. I'm telling you, this one's pretty fucking dope. Live, lo-fi, and chill. It's some good stuff to listen to while you're working, while you're out sitting outside by a bonfire, or giving handies to half-ass beer review on a 6-hour drive. You can't go wrong with Ant House Beats Stream Vibes. Available now. Make sure you check it out. Let us know what you think of it. It's pretty fucking dope. That's all you really need to tell us, because we already know. We already know.
Ant House. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say real quick. You said I want that peach drink. That beer literally was triple peach, is what they said.
Ooh.
It was like you just opened up a bag of those peach rings you get at the gas station. Tasted exactly like those, and those are like some of my favorite candies. So it was very delicious.
Sounds like it was very delicious. Did you get anything else this weekend?
No sleep.
No sleep, because you were driving everywhere. You're a madman. You're a crazy man.
Yeah, no, nothing else.
Speaking of drinking, though.
Tonight,
what are we drinking, brother?
We are drinking Odd Side Crushies. I thought this was something else. It's not, because I grabbed something else, but that's okay. It's the pineapple and pink guava Goes style. It's a white wheat ale, brewed with coriander.
He's got to read. Sorry, guys. He has to read.
I'm not doing that today.
He's contractually obligated to read.
I'm not doing that. So, but yes, very, very tart, very delicious. What I do like about it, again, is at the end of it, like you get really hit with that tart sour at the beginning, but that pink guava really kind of flushes down. I don't get a lot of pineapple quite yet, but I've only had one. But
I'm actually kind of cool that it's light on pineapple, because unless I'm eating pineapple straight, it doesn't belong on pizza. It doesn't belong anywhere else.
You're a dummy, and you should lay in traffic.
You're a pineapple on pizza guy, huh?
My pizza go-to is pepperoni, pineapple, and bacon, 90% of the time.
We have an announcement. Dude Cuddles, beginning October 1st. We're expediting things by about 6 months. Cannot wait for our Dude Cuddles, October 1st. And El Blanco, you're fired. Thank you, Jay Hill. You know. 7 Dungeons is wrong.
Pothead not okay with that.
Everybody here is wrong. I love this community, but you're all wrong.
Anybody ever had chocolate covered pretzels?
What's
that chocolate covered pretzels?
Those are good.
Yeah, it's sweet and
it's
salt.
not even close to being in the same ballpark as
it
pineapple on pizza.
Oh, it's amazing.
Have
you tried it in a while?
No, because I'm not a complete loser.
Well,
and I like pizza. Why would I fucking taint it with pineapple?
Oh, it's starting. Don't even look.
Oh no, I mean, obviously Dungeons is basically Arkenrath tonight. That's cool. So Dungeons is Arkenrath. What's up, Arkenrath? I didn't know you were logging in under Dungeons' name.
Somebody wrote his
One Trick Pony tonight. All right. I love him. That is 7 Dungeons, the man, the myth, the legends. Catch him on Monday nights at 7 p.m. right here on Twitch for all your D&D action.
All that D&D action.
All that sweet D&D action.
Pineapple good pizza.
Still doesn't know horror movies for shit. All right. Tone, before we move into our topics, we do have some sad news to discuss. I was always a fan, but I know you're a huge fan, especially Dirty Work, one of the top 5 greatest comedies of all time, probably.
And one of the most notorious roasts when he was with Bob Saget and his bits that he was doing. Yeah, Norm Macdonald sadly passed away yesterday, 61 years old. Apparently for 9 years has been battling cancer.
That's crazy.
Secretly, because he wanted his comedy to be the focus, not to have his family and or friends and or just the public know the sad side of he wanted everybody to celebrate the comedy, not to know about that sort of shit. And it's funny, we had just about 2 months ago, I want to say, we're fucking around on Netflix, and we had found, Norm Macdonald's got a stand-up here on Netflix. Didn't know that, or whatever, just one of his stand-ups. And we actually watched through it. And listen, Norm is not for everybody, but I'm going to tell you right now, as a guy that grew up with SNL, and we all know about the 90s cast, we know about, all those folks, and he was very notorious on SNL because of the O.J. Simpson's jokes, which actually cost him his job, by the way.
Yes, it did.
It cost him his job. Very, very funny guy in his own unique way. He had a delivery that nobody else could do.
He's so dry.
He was so dry, and that was part of the bit, just everything about him. He was he was a authentic comedian, as they call him sometimes as well too. So yeah, everybody knows Burt Reynolds is very, very legendary. His impression of course, the one and only David Letterman, got a gum, also legendary. The man was a legend. And yes, Dirty Work is one of my all-time favorite movies. Prime Didact and me quote that sickly almost every day. He's really it's just such a sad thing to say. A lot of people came out, a lot of his old cast members, a lot of his friends and things like that. He was good friends with like Bob Saget and the guys like that, and the community there is really bummed out. And I was very bummed out too. Turd Ferguson, that's right.
I love that part on that skit where he comes out with the hat.
Yeah.
He's like, man, look at this hat. And Will Ferrell's like, it's not funny. He goes, yeah, it is. It's huge. It's a huge hat, way bigger than a normal hat. It's hilarious.
Yeah. One of a kind. And like I said, he's not for everybody. And again, as somebody who grew up on his work, it was just really a bummer.
Dude,
to
he
see.
had some amazing, smaller scenes in and Billy Madison that will always stick with me.
Yeah.
That were just so
October?
fucking fun. Yeah, what day is it? I don't know. October?
Yeah, man.
He was incredible. He was hilarious. He had one of the best deliveries ever. I don't know if there's ever been a better Weekend Update host. I mean, there's been some great ones that have sat in that seat, but he's just always had that kind of like that Bill Murray dry delivery.
Mm-hmm.
He can come at, and it was sharp. It was razor sharp. If he come in dry, but he's gonna hit you with some shit, you can be like, oh my god, really? Did he just go there? I don't know if you guys saw. There was a lot of people tweeting stuff and sharing videos. There was one where he was on. I want to say it was either Conan or Letterman. I think it was Conan, where they were where he was with Courtney Thorne Smith, and she was like the main guest, and they were talking about our new movie because she was also on Melrose Place, I believe it was at the time when it was big, and then she was in a movie called Chairman of the Board with Carrot Top, and so. She's getting interviewed for that movie, and Norm Macdonald's sitting on the chair next to her because he's the other guest. And he's like, what's the name of the movie? She's like, Chairman of the Board with Carrot Top. And he goes, oh, yeah, I know. But I can tell you right now, they're going to spell it BORED board. I mean, she's sitting there trying to promote this movie, and he's just ripping it apart. And it's fucking hilarious because she's sitting there like, I can't save this segment. Yeah. I'm trying to like promote this shit. Conan's laughing his ass off. It is an incredible a sequence of events. It was really fucking funny. I have seen Chairman of the Board, and it was very horrible. It's Carrot Top. I mean, what were you really expecting? So. But yeah, no. Rest in peace to one of the greats, Norm Macdonald. 61 is still really young.
It is.
And for him to put his legacy of his comedy first and foremost, and just wants people to laugh and have fun, and there was one of his more recent comedy shows. He said something like, "I'm not a doctor, but when you die from cancer, the cancer dies too. So it's not really a loss; it's more of a draw."
Yeah.
He didn't lose his battle with cancer. It was a draw because the cancer dies with him.
That was on, I believe, the Netflix show, which is actually there's not very many episodes, but I can tell you. They're pretty fucking funny. They're pretty fucking funny. So
he's a hilarious talent. He's impacted a lot of people. He reached a lot of people with his humor, and he's gonna be sadly missed. So just wanted to take a few moments to reflect and talk about the master that was Norm Macdonald. I know you're bummed about it, and seriously, if you haven't seen Dirty Work, fucking see it. It is absolutely amazing.
Classic.
Let's see. What else have we got? You know what? Fuck it. We're doing a giveaway.
Are we really?
Yeah, man. Talk to us about something while I set up the giveaway. I don't give a shit.
Well, as you all know, just to kind of keep up with the adventure of the expensive basement remodel and things that are going on today, I did get notification today that the plumbers will be out starting next Monday to install the shitter in my basement. Now, if you know anything about shitters and basements, that's not always the most easy thing to set up just due to the fact there's no gravity to pull the shit somewhere. Well, guess what? I have to buy a brand new toilet for that. How much is that toilet, you ask? Funny you should ask.
How much is that toilet, Tone?
$900 fucking dollars just for the fucking shitter.
We're canceling tonight's giveaway. Sorry.
Yeah. I need all the money I can. So, if you get a chance, check out my GoFundMe. I might even do a little Patreon, something else.
Buy Tone a shitter.
Yeah, I'm looking for a GoFundMe to my shitter fund. But yeah. No, so I found that out today. Really excited about that. Yeah, remodeling basements is a great time. I've had a really good time doing it, let me tell you.
Just dig a hole.
So when people ask why I'm not buying certain games right now or why I'm not doing or going certain things, I even mentioned on Saturday, I'm like, yeah, I'm not really I'm not going to buy any real beers or any, I didn't buy any swag from 450 North. I wanted too bad. I'm like, I'm just going to watch a lot of my pennies right now because I knew this was coming, but there we go. So the new Dono goal will actually be you guys give me donos.
Donos.
There you go. How's that sound?
Everyone loves donos.
So, yeah.
I love donuts.
Yep.
I love donuts.
Sweet.
All right. So, giveaway is running. ! Enter. You must be here to claim it. So, you have the ! Claim if you are the winner. If you don't, it's going to get given away to somebody else in a minute after you're announced. So, you better be here or you're not going to get your prize. Shout out to Just Canadian last week. Oh, yeah. Also, the ! There next to Steam. If you get the Steam code, if you do win and you want a Steam code, I have to add you on Steam. And we have to wait 3 days as friends, and then I can send you the codes. Because on Steam, you can only do 10 or 25 increments, so I got to do 2 10s because you got to do it 20.
What a fucking...
It's really stupid, but hey, that's how we got to do stuff. So, yeah, appreciate everyone that's always here. We love doing these giveaways because you guys support us. You guys are always here. You're always subscribing. You're always throwing us cheers and bits and stuff, and we just want to give back. We want to do stuff for you guys and girls, and we appreciate you. So,
and I need a new shitter.
Yeah, and he needs a new shitter.
And Blanco, I actually already said today that this thing better make some Pop-Tarts or something because
I hope it does.
When I'm done, I want some Pop-Tarts.
I hope it makes some Pop-Tarts. All right, our first topic. We're going video games first, dude.
Are we really?
Yeah, we are. We're talking some video games.
Oh.
I'm going to just do a brief impressions, talk a little bit about Deathloop, which is available now on PlayStation 5 and PC. This game is about, we were in the Discord earlier today, and some people were kind of unsure of it. They're not sure about this game, and I don't know if this is the best game to learn about watching streamers play it. It is, obviously, you think first-person shooter, you kind of get your mindset for a certain type of game, but if you've played Dishonored, Arcane Studios' Dishonored, you would have a little bit better of an understanding of how their games typically play. I started up on Tuesday or on Monday night at midnight. I jumped into it. I stayed up till 2 o'clock like a fucking moron, and I was playing it then. And I was like, okay, this seems cool. Seems more like Dishonored, more of the same. And I was like, okay, this is cool. I didn't know if it was like really a 10 out of 10 game like the reviews were saying it was, but I'd only played for a little bit. And so the last night, I got on and I played some more, and I finally kind of got through the opening tutorial, so to speak.
Yeah.
And the game started to open up. Guys and gals, don't sleep on this game. Whether you have a PlayStation 5 or PC, it'll probably be on Xbox in the next year, probably be on Game Pass. So if you're on Xbox, sit tight. It'll be there soon. If you got a PS5 or a PC, it's definitely worth taking a look at right now. This is from, again, we mentioned Arcane Studios. They have Dishonored fame, and I think they did Prey as well. I think they did the Prey game. So they're very good when it comes to first-person shooters, not only with guns and stuff, but also supernatural abilities. They're very talented in that regard. In this game, you're playing as Colt, and you're basically this character who is tasked. You're stuck in a time loop, a one-day time loop, Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
Your character just keeps going through the same fucking day, and he's like, dude, I want to get out of this thing. I want to break this loop. And he finds out in order to get through this loop, he has to eliminate 8 bosses, or they're called visionaries. You have to kill 8 visionaries within 1 day. You have 1 day to do this. And when I say a day, there's 4 time periods in a day. Morning, noon, afternoon, and evening. And so you have to kill all 8 bosses within that time frame. You are given, every time you go into a certain area or every time you start a mission, you have 3 lives. You can die 3 times. And if you die a 3rd time, you go right back to the beginning. The day resets. What's cool about this game, though, is the time mechanic itself. The time mechanic in this game is actually pretty interesting. How you have to, you're thinking, okay, I have 8 bosses. I have 4 times of day, these 4 times. How am I going to get all these bosses together? You jump into the game, and there's 4 areas. You start off in the first area, up them, and you go through this entire map. And one thing Arcane does well, they create awesome maps. So not in terms of its size, but how much you can do and how much you can explore. A lot of buildings in their games, you can actually access the building. You know, when you play a lot of open world games, there's buildings, but you can't go inside most of them.
Yeah.
And this one, a lot of these areas, a lot of verticality and a lot of places to explore, a lot of secrets and nooks and crannies and all this shit. So, I mean, they nail that portion of it. But The one thing that you need to do in this game is it really adds value to collectibles. Like, in some games, only the completionists really go for collectibles. If they're going for the platinum or 1,000 gamer score, you're going for collectibles. In this game, the collectibles are directly tied to getting to the finish of the game.
Ooh.
Because every collectible has a bit of information that is integral to everything that you're trying to do. So, when I say there's 4 different times a day, I mean that, and there are 4 different biomes in this game, different areas for you to explore. And when you start off the game, you don't know much about these visionaries other than they exist, and some spots they might be in. But when you go into an area, Upton is the first spot, and you explore everything, you'll find collectibles that'll say, give you a little bit of information. Oh, this is a code for something in this area. And you're like, well, I haven't been to that area yet. So you collect that, and your character jots it down on this notepad, so you have everything you need for that. Or if you go through and you find another collectible that says, okay, here's a code for this, or there's going to be certain things going on in this area, but you're just like, again, you're like, I haven't been there, and they're talking about later in the day. So you gather all this information. In this game, knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. So you're in the first area, you collect all this stuff, and you find out all this information about stuff going on. And then when you finish your mission there, you complete your objective or whatever you're there trying to do, you go back to your hub. And again, it's updated your list of stuff that you've discovered and all your collectibles. And then you're like, okay, cool. Now it's morning, but now it's noon, and I want to go to this area. But then when you click on the area, it'll be like, hey, you've got some leads that you found in the previous area that'll help you at this time of day here. And then you go down that list, you're like, okay, complete this. It's like investigative, sort of. So you go into that area, you find more stuff, and then I was in the second area, and I found a code, and I was like, hey, wait a minute. It says there's a door back in Upton. And I was like, well, that's where I was just at. And I do remember that door, but I couldn't get into it. But on this piece of paper, it says, hey, go back there, and you can get access to it. You're like, oh, shit, okay. So you're learning stuff as you go through these different areas. And, what's cool is, like, when you learn, like, for example, when you learn about the visionaries and the 8 of them, for example, it'll say, okay, look, like, this visionary will be in this biome in the afternoon. He likes to hang out in this spot, but there's going to be a huge party in the town center, so it's going to be really difficult to take him out because there's going to be a lot of people there that'll obviously try to kill you if you do that. But if you go to that same biome in the morning as opposed to going to Upton, you can fuck that whole area up. So when you do get to that point and you go back to that biome in the afternoon, there won't be a lot of people there. So there's a lot of, like, cause and effect in this game.
That's cool.
So you're learning this, and again, collecting all these collectibles will put you in a position to not only find out what's going on with who and where, but it allows you to kind of, like, get these visionaries all at the same place. Because if you think about it, you have 8 visionaries, you have 4 periods throughout the day. You're gonna want to get all these visionaries in the same spots at the same time, so you can take out as many as you can and move to the next area. Because if you don't kill all the visionaries after the whole day goes by, boom, you're right back to the beginning. You start over. All visionaries are alive. You're right back to the beginning. Very roguelike. You're thinking, okay, it's a roguelike game. There are some elements to it. But the cool thing about this game is when you go back to your hub, you unlock this infusion process. And so say you go in through your first time and you kill one of the visionaries and you're like, oh, cool, they dropped this purple gun. Usually when you die early at the beginning of the game or early on, you lose all your weapons. You lose all the trinkets, which are like weapon perks or character perks, like faster reloading or the ability to double jump. You lose that stuff when you die. But if you infuse, you can start selecting certain items that'll be available to you every playthrough. So if you find a purple gun and you infuse it, that's an awesome gun, and say you've got a couple awesome weapon perks, you infuse those. Now that gun, which you've built to tailor to your gameplay style, will be available to you every single run. So, I mean, I was reading that, like, once you figure out everything you're supposed to do, you can beat this game in about 4 hours. Okay, if you try to do a speed run after you've done everything. But to get there, to find everything in the game, you're looking at about 40 to 50 hours.
Jesus, that's actually a lot of games.
But it is so fucking fun. It is really, really fun. It's a good time. I've been really enjoying it. Now, here's the last thing that I tried out last night that was really dope. Is when you're playing this game, the main character is you as Colt, and the antagonist is Juliana. and she's an acquaintance of somehow, and I haven't gotten far enough in the story to understand their relationship, but basically Juliana is out to stop you from killing the 8 visionaries. That's like your nemesis. And she will show up once a day to try to thwart you. And if you're able to kill Juliana, she'll drop a purple gun, a bunch of trinkets, whether it's weapon perks or character perks, and a special ability like the one I have is, I think it's called Dash or something like that. It allows you to project like to a different area. Like you can quick bounce to another area, much like in Dishonored. You can zap to another area.
Yeah, that'd be great.
But so Juliana pops into the game once a day, and she tries to stop you, and she gives you a bunch of stuff if you kill her. But here's the best part, dude. Once you complete the opening tutorial, you can play as Juliana and jump into other people's games as Juliana.
That's what I want to hear.
And I thought, this was just going to be some tacked on cool little gimmick, like in every game. You show up and and that's it. But it's a lot deeper than that. When you start it up, it'll tell you, okay, here's your hunter rank. And you're like, well, what? There's a ranking system for this?
Right.
But then you go into the menus and it'll say, okay, here's all the objectives you can complete as Juliana. And all of them will earn you points to rank up your hunter rank, which gives you better weapons, better trinkets, better abilities, better character perks. So you're basically making your Juliana more badass. And so when you finally show up in the player's game, you look like Juliana, which she's easy to spot. She's a distinct-looking character. So if you're in the map and you see Juliana running around as AI, who is formidable, you can spot her pretty quick. But if you're playing as Juliana, you have this ability to kind of like assume the likeness of any of the NPCs in the game. So when you spawn in, you're like, okay, there's this random-looking NPC character. I want to look like them so they don't know who I am. So you basically swap with them. They'll look like Juliana, but then you can sit there and just stand amongst the other AI characters or kind of stand up in the distance and just oversee the area. And then when you see the Colt player make their way into the map, you just fucking hunt them down. And it's a lot of fun as Julia. Very much like Agent Smith and Matrix. You can assume the character of anybody, and they won't know. But the thing is, like, even if you're playing as Colt, you want to look at the movements. If you see an NPC who's moving irregularly, just kind of erratically and all over the place, you're like, okay, that's clearly the person playing Juliana. But what I was doing, I was sitting there playing, like I just stood one spot because I knew the characters, the NPCs, they move in like direct routes. It's the same routes all the time. So what I would do is I would stand in one spot, wait, turn around slowly, and move to another spot. And I just kept this going. And then eventually I would see Colt show up and he'd be taking out some of the other stuff. But I know that he wasn't thinking I was Juliana because I'm just acting like any of the NPCs. I was able to kill him 3 times. So I effectively ended that person's day loop. And they had to start over.
So it was an actual player?
It was an actual player when I invaded, yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And it's fun. And it's cool because like you can set it to where you can, and you don't have to play with it on. Like if you want to just play single player and not have to worry about people invading, you can turn it off. But you can also set it to either on for everybody or friends only. So if you want to fuck with your friends, you can. But again, they have that nice cap in place where Juliana can only raid your world once a day. So you're not going to constantly have people jumping in as Juliana because Juliana is very formidable. And when it's an AI player, they can drop you real quick. But when I was playing and somebody invaded my world, it added this layer of tension because there is no time limit while you're in that biome. Even though it's like morning, you can stay there as long as you want. So immediately I drop what I'm doing, and it becomes a game of cat and mouse. So it's like this cool multiplayer where it doesn't affect your game unless they kill you, but you can stop what you're doing because time doesn't advance while you're in the biome. Mm-hmm. And you're just constantly, and you're just doing this game of cat and mouse. You're laying down traps. You're trying to fight, outsmart the other person. It's a fucking cool concept. Overall, it's a cool game. I'm really digging what I'm playing so far. Like I said, I'm only a couple hours in. I'll be curious to see where the story goes. I want to find out more about this relationship between Juliana and Colt. But man, it's a deep fucking game, dude.
That's. So now it's 2 of you, and of course you've been more extensive about the game, and it really is surprising to hear that. And all I can think about, of course, is just at some point during this loop, you're just punching Needle Nose Ned and running away. That's all I can think about. But
watch that step. It's a doozy.
Yeah, fucking great. But no, that's awesome to hear. I mean, we're in 2021 here. and looking at 2022, and a lot of the games we get are this. It's a little bit of this, but it's nice to once in a while when you get something fresh.
Yes.
It might take elements of other things, but this really sounds like it's taken some different elements, of course, from other games, but it really has a fresh take on it.
Oh my God, yeah.
And that's really exciting to hear. So I know I had even asked you last night if you're streaming it because I really want to watch it. And I've seen a few people mention that. So, maybe not this week if you don't have time, but maybe sometime in the near future if you got some time to play it and stream it for an hour.
I might be
or
able
two.
to get it in this weekend. I know Friday night we're going to be checking out Origami 2, which drops on Xbox Game Pass, but it'll also be on PlayStation 5 and on PC. But we're going to be streaming that on Friday night. Really excited to fucking play Origami 2. We'll see which members of the community want to hop on. It's on Game Pass, so I'm sure anybody. I know Blanco's hyped. So yeah, we'll stream that on Friday night. 3-player co-op.
Cool. Looks
fucking dope. Really excited for that. Linceworks is a talented indie developer, and I cannot wait to fucking play Origami 2. It's going to be really, really cool. I'm excited for that. But yeah, maybe Saturday during the day or Sunday night, I will fire up Deathpool. The thing about or Deathloop is it's just it's one of those games where if I start playing where I'm at, you're not going to really know what's going on in the story, and that's okay because the story is really good. The dialogue between the characters is really good. When Juliana and Colt are going back and forth, it's hilarious. Like they're really trying to bust each other's chops. But it's the gameplay that's gonna hook you guys.
Yeah.
It's fun to play, but I love the element of collecting items and trying to piece together the perfect run to take out all the bosses in one day. It's pretty fucking special, dude.
Yeah,
it's
I think more than
special.
anything, at least what I want to see, I want to see the verticality. I want to see the collectible thing. I want to see just more the nuances about the game than I do, at least for myself, that I'm curious definitely about the story. But I all across the board, it sounds really exciting. Again,
and the fact that you can affect all the biomes by doing stuff earlier in the day. So if I start off in Updom in the morning and I know there's something going on in the evening in Updom, I can go in there in the morning, sabotage shit, and it'll remember it. So when I leave that area, and if I cut back to Updom later on in the day, whatever I have set in place is going to transpire when I come back there.
Yeah,
everything is remembered in this game during that day cycle.
That's pretty sweet. And someday maybe when it's on Game Pass, I'll be able to play it until my GoFundMe blows up. But
I saw that, yes, Blanco. The PS4 and Xbox One versions of Origami 2 will run fine if you're playing single player, but multiplayer is going to have some hiccups, and Linceworks does not have a timetable on when they'll get that fixed, but they are going to be working on it. Series X, Series S, PS5, and PC shouldn't have any issues. They said it runs really good, should be fine. But yeah, the PS4 and the Xbox One issues are there, and it's going to be kind of a shoddy experience on the multiplayer front. Single player should be fine, though. But again, another one of those instances, dude, where I just feel like at some point, let's move on. Let's leave the... I know that's hard to do. 120 million PS5s, 60, 70 million Xbox Ones. It's hard to leave that behind. But when it starts to impact the game, you'll think of Cyberpunk 2077, you look at some of these games that are impacted by it, and then you look at games like Returnal and Deathloop, and all these games are designed for these new systems. Now a lot of those issues are present. So at some point, let's move the fuck on. I love those systems, okay? I love the 1 and I love the 4. Let's move on. We're done with this shit because it's clearly holding some of these games back, or they're just not able to get these games nearly as close as their new gen.
And that is part of the thing too, Cherry, is that not everybody can afford them.
That's the other thing.
Not everybody can find them.
Absolutely,
that's for sure. However, at some point, just from a technical side of it, just they have to move forward with technology. So maybe not every game necessarily, but just big AAA titles or big things that are big money makers for them, it might not be worth doing cross gen. And it's weird to hear that, especially with the Series X or the Xbox One. But again, it's just the logistics of things. I mean, I always go back to my favorite thing to always go back to is when the PS3 came out. Part of the reason that had a lot of hard time moving forward was because it supported PS2 so strongly, and they talked about it. Sony did for so late in that generation, even 10 years after.
Right. And
you got to be really careful. It's a slippery slope because you've invested all your money in this new stuff, and if you can't sell the new stuff, you're not going to make any money, and you're not going to move that technology forward. And that's kind of what happened to them towards the end of that generation. So
So how hard is crossplay to do? Is it really hard game to game? I mean, everyone likes to say, "Oh, it's so simple, just add crossplay." But if you listen to what developers say, it's not as simple as everyone. I mean, armchair developers will tell you that, "Oh, everything's super fucking easy." They'll do it, but when you actually listen to the developers, nothing is as simple as what people think it is. Crossplay, there's a lot of network stuff you have to figure out. There's system differences. There's latency. The latency is different on every system, every console. So, I mean, there's a lot of variables that come into play. Obviously, the big developers, they figure out how to do it. But, some of the indie devs, it's not as simple. It costs money to make crossplay thing. It costs money to get it running. It costs money to get support. So, if you ever see somebody sit there and say, "Oh, crossplay is easy," ask them if they're a developer. And if they're not, that's all you need to know. They have no fucking idea what they're talking about. You listen to the developers, you read their stories. Crossplay is not the easiest thing to implement. Otherwise, every game would do it.
Is it Turtle Rock that's doing Back 4 Blood?
Yes. I think it's Turtle Rock.
Yeah. Anyways, whoever doing Back 4 Blood, just from playing the beta, like they figured it out really well.
Did,
like,
yeah, absolutely.
That was such a smooth. So I can't wait to see a launch for that as well too, to see how well that works. But hopefully, hopefully more and more, like we always say, we want cross gen to be more of our crossplay, be something that we see more often. I think at the very least, if it wasn't even just crossplay, I think cross save needs to be figured out more than anything. I would imagine, and I don't know, but I would imagine that would be easier to figure out than crossplay.
See, cross save, I think it's tricky for some developers because you have to create a whole back end for that, because it's not like, you have to create like much like Blizzard. In order to have, you have BlizzardNet. Blizzard has all their servers that store that information, so you have to have a Blizzard account. I have to have a Bungie account if I want to attach all my different stuff to it. So it's not something that like Sony and Xbox can just do for anybody.
Right.
The
it's
publisher,
in the hands of
the developer has to have some kind of a system to kind of like build everybody into. So it's a little bit more complicated. If it's a small developer, they're not going to have all that shit on hand like a big developer does. It's just not readily available to them because it costs a lot of fucking money.
All right, and I suppose at that point you have to lean into the publisher, and then you're talking money, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, so, but I mean, great question. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that goes on to it, but it's never as simple as armchair developers will tell you it is. It's incredibly difficult, and anyone who tells you otherwise doesn't know what they're talking about. All right, we're going to keep the gaming news stuff going. We're going to do a quick discussion over last week's PlayStation Showcase. This was a big showcase. There was a lot of hype building up for this thing. A lot of speculation on what we would see. I don't know if any of our predictions landed.
Mine did.
What one?
Well, kind of. We saw God of War.
Oh, wow, man. Your softball landed. Good job, dude. Super happy for you. Like, literally none of my shit dropped at all. But,
sadly.
Tone, we saw some big reveals.
We got some big shit, though.
We got some
huge
big reveals, especially at the beginning. There was a bomb where I was like, man, I wish Tone was sitting right here because he just spent 150 hours beating it on his Xbox Series X, the 20-year-old version of KOTOR. But now we know that Knights of the Republic is being remade for PlayStation 5. And it's being done by Aspire Media, which is interesting because it's not BioWare.
It's not BioWare. It's not EA, which I really do like.
It is being built from the ground up. We understand that on the PlayStation blog, they described it as a console launch exclusive. That can be read many different ways. But there's been some Sony marketing that has said this is a straight PS5 exclusive. So we don't know the details of it. And again, if anyone tells you they know what it is, they don't. They have no idea. But right now, we don't know where it's coming. We don't know where it's coming, but we do know it's going to be on PlayStation 5 at launch.
Going to be a while.
But there's been some marketing that has suggested that it's more than just that. It's supposedly, possibly, PS5 exclusive, which is fucking nuts. But, dude, tell me about it. Tell me about your love for KOTOR and the remake.
First of all, hi, Positivity Cat. Nice to see you.
Positivity Cat, what's going on?
Welcome, buddy. No, I'm... Actually, when I got home to watch the showcase and I was watching the Banter Babble, your reaction to it, and you were like, oh, fuck, Tone, where are you at? Kind of thing. And I'm just like, I'm watching it, and it was enough to see. And, like, I had this feeling. I mean, I already knew it was ruined kind of anyways because I already knew ahead of time because I'd asked. But It was really interesting how they did it because you didn't know.
Mhm.
It kind of looked like Luke from the end of Mandalorian, so you didn't know if it was gonna be something like that. And then all of a sudden, like, you saw the red lightsaber come on, and I knew that you weren't overly familiar because, like, you when you saw the face, you didn't recognize the character necessarily, which is fine because really deep fans or really super fans of that and would know. With the mask
Tricky
and everything,
knew.
Tricky knew, right?
knew.
Yeah, Tricky knew right away. I was watching all that. So, but then, it said KOTOR, and I think everybody was flabbergasted. We've been wanting and hearing these rumors for years of this potentially happening, but I always expected that BioWare would have a hand in it. But
Right.
what's exciting about this is now that the Star Wars license is not exclusive to fucking EA,
Bingo.
somebody else can do this. Now, I've heard some back and forth about the people that are involved in the story writing and building this, and there's some concerns there. I don't know. I'm not even going to get into all that shit. I just know that I'm excited for a revised version of one of my all-time favorite RPGs that, yes, even though I'm close to beating right now, I will certainly replay this again at that point. So, yeah, that was dope. It was something we've been
That was a
wanting
hell
for
of a
long time,
kickoff
so.
for the show. I was like,
That
whoa,
was a huge
that's
kickoff.
big.
And the bigger implication here, and I know Blanco and 7D Dungeons out there, and probably Tricky as well, there's some of us that have been waiting for a while for this, and we don't know yet. Here again, we don't know the answer. We always go back and forth. People see me and Blanco talk about, is Revan canon? Well, technically, he was not canon at the end of Rise of Skywalker, even though one of the squads was called the Revan Squad or whatever. Now, the fact that Disney is allowing for an actual remake of this, that may technically, since it's under their umbrella, recanonize these characters in that story, which it technically should and would, I would guess. But we've got to wait till Disney proper actually says that before we know for sure that this is technically canonizing Revan. So fingers crossed that we finally can say that now that Disney has it, Revan is technically under the actual new current canon of Disney. So I would expect probably some changes in the story a little bit, maybe, and maybe some gameplay. Hopefully not too much because I love that westernized style gameplay. But at the very least, we just want this character canonized.
Right.
That's all we want. So
no, it was a sweet way to kick off the show, and then we went through the middle of the show, which was a lot of stuff that we already knew about. Just kind of like getting people hyped about it. We saw Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm not too crazy about that one.
I gotta be honest. I don't give a shit.
I'll be 100% honest with you. I thought the third party portion of it was okay, underwhelming a little bit. They spent way too much time on GTA 5. I am fucking tired of GTA 5. Like, look, man, I have been renowned. I am known for buying games over and over and over again. I will not buy fucking GTA 5 on these consoles, dude.
The Guardians don't even look good.
It
didn't even look good.
Yeah, there you go. GT, go away. It does. They spend way too much fucking time on it. I was like, okay, cool, I get it.
No, it's because it's just.
But I mean, hey,
it's a
that's
money
business,
machine.
baby. And the thing is, I'm in the minority when I say I'm not buying it.
It's the same thing
I'm
like
in
mobile
the
games.
fucking the littlest of minorities.
You can sit here and criticize anybody that puts money into the mobile games, but if they're putting 10 to 20 hours a week in these mobile games and they're spending 10 or 20, $30 here.
Josh, GTA 5 came out in 2013, bro.
On PS3 and 360.
And now it's getting a next-gen port.
Again.
It's been on every fucking console except the Switch because it would literally melt the Switch.
You know what we haven't seen?
Huh.
GTA, I don't know, 6.
Good. I don't want to see any of it. Skyrim does the same thing because people buy it.
Yeah.
But like GTA, dude, the only reason they sell GTA 5 is for GTA Online. That's the
all it is, yeah.
They don't give a fuck about the single player in that game. They want that GTA Online, so people buy them shark cards and make all that money because they make a lot of money off GTA Online.
Yep.
I mean, dude, look, they were supporting it. Dude, have they done anything for Red Dead 2?
Talk about, okay, so this is a sore spot for me, briefly. That game, even the online, the original, like on 360 and PS3, it was just an open world thing. You could do some PvP. There were some fun mini games. It was great. The problem with Red Dead Online this time was they had all those games and it was fun, and you could do the open world stuff. You can do things. They kept nerfing shit. They kept fucking with shit. they've never really added a lot of great extra content to them. And to me, that's appealing to have like a community that's based in the Old West.
Mm-hmm.
I just felt like that game felt different because you're not going to run anybody with a car. You're not going to see anybody in 2 seconds because you don't have a helicopter.
Right.
There's actually some open space involved in that.
Mm-hmm.
Why have they never added a casino like a casino like boat? Like,
Because
wouldn't that be cool?
You want to know why?
Or do like a boat, like a robbery, like hey, I'm gonna do like things like that.
You want to know why?
Because GTA makes
because
them
everyone's still fucking playing
everyone's
GTA
still
Online.
playing fucking GTA Online.
Everybody went to Red Dead Online and said, "Hey, this is fun. All right, I'm out of here and going back to GTA
Yeah.
Online, where I've spent like literally thousands of real world dollars to make my rep and build all my shit up, dude. Like Red Dead Online was never ever going to take off and reach the echelon.
I really enjoyed Red Dead 2 Online a lot, by the way, at first. For a long time, I played the fuck out of it.
Yeah, dude. Everybody wants to fucking be on GTA Online, and that's why they're bringing out that game again.
Anyways.
So,
fucking,
yeah, spend too much time on that. But, yeah, a lot of the
Now we just
third-party
did too.
stuff. Well, right, we did. Exactly.
did,
It's been
we
our
did.
longest segment. It's been the GTA stuff, so there
Sweet.
we go. But like, yeah, the third party stuff, it was fine, but it was all stuff that we really knew about, with the exception of KOTOR and some other stuff. But then towards the end of the show, I was sitting there looking at my watch, going, "Okay, dude, we've spent 30-some minutes on a 40-minute show talking about fucking games we already knew about." Okay, I was like, "Where's the first party stuff?" And finally, they have Herman Hulston, and do we really have to have Jim Ryan on at the beginning?
I don't even want to talk about it anymore.
Christ.
Dude, bring Kevin Butler back, please. Sony,
Damn,
whatever
I miss
you do.
Kevin Butler,
please bring
VP
Kevin
of
Butler?
Insert Business Unit.
I do want to point out right quick that what I do like when Sony does is when they lean into their weird ass fucking commercial marketing.
Man.
Like that beginning commercial they showed,
That was
just
out
like
there,
the
man.
like the ones they had for PS3, the ones for PS4, the weird baby shit.
Dude,
for
the
PS3.
PS3 baby one is
Dude.
still one of my. I know people hated that.
Dude,
I watched the thing and it was creepy
But you
enough for
still
me. I was like,
remember it.
"Oh yeah," because it was fucking sweet.
yeah, like and the PS4 had like the play together stuff and
Yeah.
people
Yep.
walking
Kevin
down
Butler.
and then, and Kevin Butler and shit like that. Like when they lean into that marketing, that's just what kind of makes them unique. I love that kind of marketing because not a lot of things do that, you know. And I mean, Nintendo finally starts to do better with their ads these days and like certain like cartoons and stuff like that. But like, man, that kind of weird marketing is just it's unique to them, and I really love when they do that. Anyway,
I like how they infuse a lot of their games into the market, into those commercials. Like, you know, the commercial is like some weird setting.
It's a fucking completely
But
like
they
nutty
have-
thought process.
They have some like all their games, like the characters, like,
Yeah.
like you saw Aloy as a statue.
right,
You know, and
all
you
that
got
stuff.
all these different things like hidden in the commercial. So I mean, they do like this. Yeah, it's some weird shit, but they still have the marketing, they still have their branding and the right stuff to showcase
yes.
and whatnot. So that was that part of it was pretty funny. But I mean, for the most part, the third party stuff, nothing really blew me away. But then we finally, actually, you know, I will say, Forspoken looked pretty good. Forspoken looked really good.
Forspoken looked
Yes.
fucking sweet.
That looks really good.
Very
Forspoken
honestly,
looked
that looked
really,
pretty
really
fucking
good.
cool.
I was really impressed with that. I'll be really curious to see how that one turns out. But then, yeah, dude, we get to the final act of the showcase, and we start off. We see the logo, Insomniac Games, and immediately you're thinking, "Oh, Spider-Man," and I'm thinking, "Oh, maybe this is Resistance," and even the music was slightly reminiscent of the music that they used in the Resistance 3 trailer. Like this twanging of the guitar, and I was like, "Oh, that's why I popped up. I was like, "Oh," it's like, "No way!" And then all of a sudden, we get the shot of the bar. You know, the bar and everyone, all these dead people everywhere except for one dude, and he stands up and he pulls a knife, and there's a dude right here. This guy right here. Sitting at the bar, having a drink, and the guy walks up on behind the knife, and then you get a close-up of the guy's hands on the counter of the
They're
bar.
all bloody.
All bloodied up. He was the one. He was the shit kicker in the place. He whooped everyone's ass, and he flexes his hands, and boom, the three blades come out. Cut to darkness. Wolverine. Wow. I was expecting at least Spider-Man 2, which we'll get to in a moment, but we finally seen that Wolverine. Sony has locked up another Marvel IP for an exclusive first-party title from Insomniac Games. First of all, how many fucking people work at Insomniac?
They probably
Seriously, how
They
many?
multiply.
How big is Insomniac Games? Did they
They're
just
bigger?
they moved out Miles Morales? They moved out Ratchet and Clank.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're working on. Oh, dude, it is Crash. It is. They already said it is going to be an M-rated game. Very mature, very bloody, very violent. Wolverine is going to be nasty. But they made those games, and now they're working on not only Wolverine, which set the world on fire. People were hyped about it, rightfully so. I mean, Insomniac is kind of on a fucking roll.
There's a lot of things with that, yeah.
And then moments later, a trailer kicks off. And I thought, like a couple other people, the way it was set up and the way it looked, I was like, here we go. Here we go. This is the game that we've been waiting on. Another sucker punch. We're coming back to Infamous, but it's not Infamous. You see Miles, and then you see Peter Parker. You're like, oh, fuck, this is the Spider-Man game. Damn, Insomniac's doing this too. And they're both there, and you're like, whoa, man, this is pretty dope. All of a sudden you hear somebody talking, and you're like, whoa, who's this? This supposed to be the villain. And it peers into the shadows, and out comes Venom.
Mm-hmm.
And you hear the sultry baritones
Oh, my God.
of Tony Todd. Candyman will be voicing the character of Venom. Now, we don't know who was speaking before Venom came from the shadows, because that was a different voice.
Pretty sure we know who that is.
Lay it on me.
Okay, so at the end of Spider-Man and Spider-Man Miles Morales, one of them at the very least, we see that I'm just speculating. I'm guessing that they're going to kind of change who is Venom in this series, and it looks like it's probably Harry Osborn Jr. Or, well, not Harry Osborn. Harry Osborn, his son. You see him in like one of the because he's sick. You don't see him in the first game,
Right.
and he's in the tank, and it looks like some form of symbiote. Now,
Right.
the question is, is he actually going to be Venom, or is that got something to do with Venom? I don't really. If it's Kraven before Venom, that's interesting. If they do like a Sinister Six build as well too, that would also be interesting. I would like to point out, with all this excitement, so much going on. I do want to come back to the Wolverine thing in a moment here. The Spider-Man as well is that I believe I was reading that the what you were seeing with the fighting with the two of them was actually looked like CGI, but it was actually in game. You read some of that?
Yes.
Like holy fuck.
In game.
Like holy fuck, that was all in game.
That is because
And it looked like CGI.
You want to know why that looks like that?
Why is that?
Because they're not making that game for the PlayStation 4.
Right.
After God of War Ragnarok and GTA 7 and Forbidden West, they're not going. Everything's going to be PS5 exclusive after that.
Did you say GTA 7?
Gran Turismo.
Oh, okay.
Gran
Holy
Turismo.
Shit.
And how sadly, even though we saw Miles and Peter Parker, there is no co-op. This is a single-player game. Insomniac came out and said, look, that's a cool idea.
It is.
This is a single-player experience. There will not be any co-op. So I thought that was kind of a bummer, but hey, Insomniac I trust. I have no issues with what they do. I'm never going to, at this point, I can't question Insomniac. I really can't. I've played Miles Morales, fucking dope-ass game. I played Ratchet and Clank, dope-ass game. I don't fucking care what they do. I don't care. I'm not worried about it. No co-op, not worried about it. Don't care. Going to be an amazing game. Wolverine, don't know much about it. Don't care.
But yeah, don't care for sure.
No.
But very, very honestly, it looks really awesome. I'm very excited for this Gamerverse thing that they're doing just generally or whatever Sony's doing. It's all like, and again, they contribute to the MCU. Like everything's a multiverse. It doesn't really. They can do their own thing in the games, kind of like retcon or change some of the stories. That's fine. The adaptation they've done so far with Miles has been great and everything. I love it. But I do want to come back to the Wolverine thing for a quick moment. I know everybody's been talking about the license plate and the Hulk thing and stuff like that. Will Hulk be involved in this? So So the question with that would be it all comes back to rights.
Let me ask you real quick. We're referring to in the trailer right above. You can't see in this photo, but above his left shoulder, there is a license plate that says HLK 181.
Yeah, which was, I believe, the first appearance technically of Wolverine.
Mm-hmm.
I think in like Hulk comic, if I remember correctly. Crash, double check that. But so that's cool. The question is okay, is Hulk involved? Well, it comes back to rights, and Universal has a lot of the rights of those. So I don't know how much of a hand they can do without having something. But I knew there were some clauses in that just like how the Hulk had his own little story in Ragnarok, the movie, was because it wasn't focusing on him. He can take part in a movie. It just can't be focused on him. So who knows where that's going to lead? Everybody knows that some of the greatest rivalry in the comic books is always going to be Wolverine and Hulk. It just always, somehow, they always converge. But here's the point about this that's really exciting for me to actually think about and where this means just generally, potentially for the MCU. Now, I don't know necessarily the game will actually connect to the MCU, we'll say, which would be really cool if it did, but clearly Spider-Man doesn't, so, who knows, but it's a whole Sony thing as well. This could, for one, because this is all Marvel, Sony doesn't have to be involved, So this could be something that could link somehow to the MCU and be recognized as story canon. 2, the bigger piece of this to take in is the fact that you guys realize this is the first time now in a while that Marvel is able to present a character, whether any form, in a video game form here, as they've got full reins on. Here's Wolverine
in any media,
right?
Not just video game, but any media.
Fox.
But now, keep in mind that this game comes out in 2023. A lot of stuff can happen between now and then with all the Marvel movies. I mean, Wolverine could show up. We don't know yet. I mean,
we don't know, but
in terms of like presentation, this is the first time we've seen it. Yes.
Yeah, since they've got the Fox properties. Now, the Fox properties have kept them strictly to movies where Fox has them in they might be able to do some games and stuff like that. That's fine. But this is now opening the door. If you look at what's been going on with Disney Plus and some of that sort of stuff, that stuff is all linked to the actual, the MCU. Is this going to now? Marvel's Avengers is a different case. I know that's a whole different thing. That's a gamerverse, whatever.
Sure.
But there's always possibility that this could somehow, and this is my hope, link somehow to the MCU. So fingers crossed. We'll see. Maybe not. Probably not. Probably just be a gamerverse thing. That's fine. But it's just exciting because
the MGU.
Yes.
Marvel Gamer Universe.
Wow, you're so fucking smart. Anyways, I digress. Really exciting to see Wolverine. It's a character a lot of people's love.
It blew a lot of people's minds.
And it did.
Everyone went fucking ballistic.
Prior to Deadpool being the current pseudo poster boy for a while in the comics, Wolverine had been a poster boy for a long time for Marvel as well too. So now that Fox doesn't have them, they can kind of really focus on these characters again and bring them back into the forefront. It's pretty exciting.
Yeah, it was a sweet reveal. The Spider-Man thing was a sweet reveal, and then finally to close out the show, Tone, right when I was watching it and the stream cut out, we finally got to see God of War Ragnarok. And you know what? I'm kind of glad that the stream cut out when it did because I was too busy trying to fix it. There is a lot of shit in that reveal that spoils the ending of the first game. I haven't beaten the first game yet. There's a lot of stuff revealed in that video where you're just like, oh shit, I didn't realize this character.
Oh yeah. What part exactly?
I don't know because I looked away and I was too busy working on stuff. And I seen people talking on Twitter like, oh, that was crazy. That I didn't know this. And I was like, oh shit, I think I might have stumbled onto something. I think the one thing that I did see that kind of spoiled a little something for it was I seen a hammer. I seen a hammer on the side.
That was because you had
yeah, and I was like,
that was in the post credit scene.
And when I seen that, I was like, oh shit, I really need to fucking finish this goddamn game.
To finish that fucking goddamn game. Forge. So basically, Fox needed some money. They sold the movie rights back to Marvel or Disney with the Fantastic Four, X-Men. They had basically the word mutants covered all that, including the first family there, the Fantastic Four, and maybe some other characters as well too. They were choking out the comics and a lot of the other games and stuff like that because they didn't want people to recognize and recall those properties, so they wouldn't be so caught up and worried about spending all their money on the movie tickets to go see the Fox version of those movies. So it's kind of like out of sight, out of mind. So it's something they were kind of doing like when they were combining some of the universes and stuff with the Secret Wars to try and like wipe the slate clean from some of those. And that's why you see Inhumans get a big push, including even actually the Marvel's Avengers game, which was probably in development before the Fox buyout, because Inhumans are very mutant-like, so they can still have these fantastic characters but not be mutants and have to worry about all that. So there you go.
Wow, that was a lot.
Blah, blah, blah.
That was good. But so yeah, the God of War trailer, from what I saw, from what little I did watch, it looked fucking good. Some goofballs on social media were like, oh, he uses the same animation to jump in the boat that he did in the original one. It's just like, is this your ammo? Is this where you're coming at?
Yeah, the Xbox circle jerking fanboys were really heavy out there too, but they're just jealous they don't have an IP to.
Stop. They got some IPs. They got some good stuff coming. But no, yeah, it was look, in terms of its visual presentation, I mean, from what I saw, I thought it looked good. I mean, God of War is a fucking beautiful looking game. Mm-hmm. Now, does it look like what I saw? Does it look similar to the last one? Yeah, sure. I mean, a little bit. But I mean, at the same time, sadly, this is a game that's got to also run on PlayStation 4. So is it being held back? Possibly. I don't know. I'm not a developer. I don't know what it takes to get a game to run this fucking good running at 60 frames. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. All I know is it took a lot to get the PS4 version the PS4 Pro version to run at close to 60. It was difficult. There's a lot of graphical fidelity going on in these God of War games. They're fucking beautiful-looking games. On the PS5, it runs good at 60 frames. I expect it to look a little bit better. I mean, much like a lot of these games that get PS5 enhancements, you're going to get a higher resolution, you're going to get better performance, but at the end of the day, this thing is still kind of like tethered to the PS4.
Yeah.
The base PS4 is still in the equation. When they make this game, they're like, man, this thing has to run on this fucking
that's
thing.
7 years ago.
Yeah. This game has to run on 7-year-old tech. It's going to look fine. Like when I play God of War on my big screen, my 4K TV on the PS5, the shit looks better than most of the games out. I'm not concerned about how it looks. I want a good story. I want fucking brutal gameplay. That's all I want from God of War. Now,
the game still looks pretty.
After this God of War, because this will tie up the
that was really surprising to me
it's not
because
gonna be a
typically
trilogy.
it's a duology or whatever they call it.
This is going to be, they're going to tie up the Ragnarok storyline.
That's interesting to hear.
Very interesting. And another thing that's interesting is Cory Barlog is not the director of this game, which is interesting because Cory Barlog directed the last one, but Eric Williams is taking over for this one because Cory Barlog is working on something else. Well, there's been rumors going around that he's working on a sci-fi epic, but he is not directing this game.
Does he have a hand in it? Like producing?
I believe he's part of it.
Okay.
He's got something to do with it, but Eric Williams is, in fact, the director of this game. And based on what Cory Barlog has said, the game is in capable hands. Obviously, the whole studio is still very good. Sony Santa Monica is the studio.
It's Sony Santa fucking Monica, for fuck's
sake.
But
Cory Barlog is not directing this game because he is working on...
they got
many of
notes.
your thinking is the sci-fi game that's been rumored to be in development over at Sony Santa Monica.
Wait. Cory Barlog doing a sci-fi.
Hello. I'm on board with that.
Yeah,
I'm on board with anything Cory Barlog does. I'm going to be interested in. But,
for sure.
Overall thoughts on the show, though, dude. I'm going to kind of be a doucher here and just say it was good, but not great.
I would think that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
It was good, not great. I think what made it good was some of the crazy reveals, and we're looking, at a couple of them right there. I felt like we were missing some things.
This was a great showcase if you are solely into single-player experiences. Nobody is going to question Sony right now when it comes to the single-player stuff. They have everything covered.
Mm-hmm.
They have all sorts of games. All of them look fucking great. All of them are going to have great stories, great gameplay. But damn it, for us multiplayer fans, not only did we not get SOCOM, which I knew was, I was kind of hoping. I still want to know that doesn't mean SOCOM isn't coming. That just means it wasn't announced. Guerrilla's first and second team weren't there. Guerrilla Games wasn't even present at this shit. So that tells you something. Guerrilla Games wasn't even there at all. But we also didn't see. We saw from Naughty Dog. We know that the Uncharted 4 and Lost Legacy is coming to PC, and that's great. But we got dick in terms of information on factions. The multiplayer component coming to The Last of Us 2. My issue right now with PlayStation is they continue to lack any fucking sort of multiplayer portfolio. They literally have nothing out there in terms of multiplayer. Yes, there are some multiplayer stuff like Ghost of Tsushima, the Legends mode, which is cool. That's awesome. It's fun. But as a straight shooter, you need to have a shooter in your portfolio. And I understand they have the marketing rights for Call of Duty, and they have that relationship, so Call of Duty's on PlayStation, and they push all that shit, and that's great. I fucking hate Call of Duty. I don't want to play Call of Duty anymore. And Sony has a plethora of first-party IPs that are sitting on fucking ice. The last fucking multiplayer game they released was a VR game, Firewall, which is a good game. It's a good VR game.
Actually, yeah.
For like the 25 people that still play PlayStation VR. But they just don't have shit for multiplayer. I never play multiplayer because it's the same time. And dude, I get that. I understand it. Multiplayer is not for everybody. But there are people that like multiplayer.
Yeah.
That are looking for some kind of competitive gameplay. And I get it. Rainbow Six Siege is out there. Call of Duty is out there. Battlefield's out there. Awesome. Microsoft has Halo. Microsoft has Gears of War. Both those games have pretty strong multiplayer communities.
And, followings.
Sony has jack shit in terms of first-party multiplayer stuff. They got to announce some. They have to do this soon. Like, look, dude, I get it. I love Wolverine. I love the idea of Spider-Man 2. I love all the first-party stuff. Okay, they have great single-player experiences. Nobody's going to be like, man, they don't have shit for stories. They have plenty. But fuck, man, for a first-party game where I want to hop on and play with some friends, they don't have shit. They need to address their multiplayer portfolio now. ASAP. It's gotten to the point now where you guys need something multiplayer.
They do.
It's super frustrating. It was the one thing that stood out the most for me in terms of this presentation. All the good stuff that we saw, for me, I was like, where the fuck are the multiplayer games?
Where's the Twisted Metal online?
Where's the Twisted Metals? Where's the SOCOMs? Where's the Killzone? Where's the fucking Resistance? Sony, you have some fucking dope-ass IPs. It's time to revive them. Your multiplayer portfolio is a fucking disaster. Fix it. ASAP. I'm hoping we'll get a PlayStation experience in December.
You might,
because honestly, God, they have to do another showcase before Horizon comes,
right? Because
they've got the delay out there. They had the whole fiasco with the pre-order, and the upgrade and all this shit. It was a really bad.
They didn't want to talk about it at the showcase.
There was a shit show for Horizon. They have to redo the buzz. They gotta reinvigorate people. They gotta get people hyped. I think there will be a PlayStation experience in December or another big PlayStation showcase in December to get people hyped because Horizon Forbidden West comes out in February. They're not going to just roll into February with all the fucking games that are coming out in February now.
Yeah.
Dude, is the world ending in March?
That's the rumor.
There's like 7 or 8 AAA titles dropping in February. February is a fucking disaster. They got to have another showcase to get people hyped for Horizon. I mean, people are hyped for it, but I mean, they had a little bit of a speed bump with the delay in the pre-order shit show or the upgrade shit show. They'll do another one, and I think at that point, dude, you got to fucking mention multiplayer games. You got to do something. I don't care if you have to be like, dude, we're bringing back Haze 2. I don't fucking care at this point. I need a multiplayer game, please, SOCOM or anything. Don't care.
Yeah,
but overall, I mean, it was a decent show, but I felt like this was lacking because they haven't announced a major multiplayer game in almost a decade.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are talking out there like there's some good conversation you all got going on between you. Forge, that's true too. I think that's something that I think the reasoning is that Sony isn't making the multiplayer because sometimes they do focus on those single player games because they do sell consoles. The multiplayer might not because it's a more of a. I mean, I don't know. I just don't know that. Like, I mean, I see SOCOM selling consoles and maybe Twisted Metal, maybe.
Well, I mean, I think Twisted Metal right now, dude. If you look at that Destruction All Stars or whatever that fucking game that came out at the launch of the system,
never heard of it.
Yeah, it never really took off. There were some issues with it. My understanding is they fixed a lot with it, and it is actually in a much better place than it was at launch. But I think Car Combat is a really tough sell. Twisted Metal is obviously a better known name than Destruction All Stars. But I would love to see another Twisted Metal game.
Dude, playing PS3 Twisted Metal on PS3 didn't get enough love.
It didn't.
That was fun as fuck online. I played the shit out of that for probably about a month, I think. A couple weeks maybe. I don't fucking know. I don't hold games very long. But you know what I mean? Like, it was a good time. So I think, first party is a big reason for Sony because they do sell the consoles. Maybe that's a piece of it. I don't know. You guys got a lot of good things out there. I saw some Road Rash. That would be fun as a multiplayer.
Road Rash.
Absolutely agree with that. That would be pretty wild as well too. Jet Moto. Where's Jet Moto? I haven't seen that since PS1.
Yeah.
Where's Jet Moto?
And I see Jay Hill talking about NCAA football. I am fucking stoked. The minute NCAA football comes out, that's a day one buy. I fucking hate Madden, dude. I can't stand the Madden games. Oh, yeah. I just want NCAA football. I want to do an online dynasty with like 10 friends. We all pick shitty schools, and we all recruit against one another. Dude, I failed so many classes in college because I was like, I'm not going to class today because my cousin's coming after my running back. And I got to fucking recruit hard. I got to get a win this week. I got to look good. So he comes to my school. Recruiting was huge. It was an important part of my life. More important than my shitty college career.
That looks really good on a resume, by the way.
Dude, I'm telling you, man. They were like, dude, why is your GPA like a 2.1? And why does it look like you wrote over the real score of like a 1.8? But I'll be like, well, now wait. I turned Louisiana Lafayette into national champions after 3 years because I can recruit like a motherfucker. And they're like, you know what? You're hired. It's talent. The Raging Cajuns, baby. They were dog shit when I took over, and then we turned into fucking a dynasty.
Really uncomfortable.
But all right, time to move on. We have some trailers, Tone. We have some trailers. Now, obviously, last week we ran a show, and it was a day before the big trailer. But we got to watch the teaser for Matrix. But then on Thursday, the trailer dropped. Now, everybody in this chat has watched this trailer 75 times and probably masturbated at least 17 times 2. But we're going to watch it again just because of the musical choice. And that's a fucking dope-ass trailer. And because NPH. I mean, that's really...
That's
really the only reason you need to watch the trailer. So let's check out the full-on trailer for Matrix 4 Resurrections.
Song.
Thomas? You seem particularly triggered right now. Can you tell me what happened?
I've had dreams that weren't just dreams. Am I crazy?
We don't use that word.
We don't use that word in here.
Love that part.
Such a good song.
Hi.
Have
we met?
Rabbit a few times too.
One pill makes you larger.
Yeah, trick.
And one pill makes you small. And the ones that mother gives you don't do anything at all.
Izzy Ant House?
Scarlett, when she's 10 feet tall.
Time to fly.
If you want the truth, Neo, you're going to have to follow me.
The only thing that matters to you is still here. I know it's why you're still fighting and why you will never give up. You don't know me, no?
After all these years, to be going back to where it all started. Back to the Matrix.
Well, Jay Hill, if you ever want your noodle baked sometime, we could do a Discord call, and I could bake your noodle.
You'll bake the shit out of it.
Bake the shit out of your
Dude,
noodle.
this is one of those trailers where either I'm going to remember the movie or I'm going to remember this trailer and be like, man, that movie was trash. And because this trailer looks so fucking dope.
Yeah.
It was dude, this is a top tier trailer. Top tier trailer.
Like graphically, like did that look? Like
Oh,
that
dude,
looked,
dude,
it was crisp as
my
hell.
favorite shot, honestly, is the part where the helicopter is crashing into the building.
Mm.
Just the aesthetic of it and the way they shot it, like it just looks, like you said, the special effects just look incredible. Like that wide shot of the trailer crashing, or the chopper crashing into the building, and them leaping off. I was like, dude, that is a fucking sweet shot. I thought that was a great trailer.
I think a lot of people really do forget this, and maybe it's just because time has passed so long, but we got to remember that the original Matrix literally set a standard for movies in Hollywood.
New standard. The bar was
forward.
ridiculously high.
I mean, just generally. So, I got a feeling, I don't know if necessarily we'll see that kind of like reiteration of that bar, but Wachowskis just generally tend to, when it comes to that sort of thing. I mean, like, listen, we know that what is it, Jupiter Ascending, whatever the fuck that trash
Jupiter
was.
Ascending.
But
yeah.
look at even Speed Racer, which I do feel like is, again, I do say that I think is a little bit of an underrated movie. It looked gorgeous for the time. It was like kind of like, whoa, what the fuck am I watching, kind of thing. Man, I got to tell you, as somebody who's a big fan of the series, even I've got a lot of questions. We've all got a lot of questions, especially if you're a super fan. And everybody's going to have questions as well, too. I can tell you, like I said, Jay Hill, I can bake your noodle. There's so many different things that I think of this. Again, keep in mind, the last things that was said in Revolutions.
I agree with Forge.
The first makes one of the great. Oh yeah,
Dude,
absolutely.
that movie, that movie sent ripples.
Yeah.
Through pop culture.
Did you see it in the theater?
And I did, yeah.
Did you?
Oh,
Yeah,
I
did
dude,
too.
when I remember when that movie was coming out in the trailer, I was like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
High as fuck, and I went to the theater
Nice.
and watched that movie, and I think I saw it 3 times in the theater. Because it seriously was. It sent ripples through pop culture. It sent ripples through the world. It set a new, like you said, it set a new standard. It raised the bar for storytelling, presentation, special effects. It was an incredible experience. Did Ant House win?
The Beats Maestro.
The Beast Maestro? Oh, shit, I didn't even see it pop up. Where'd it pop up at? Where's it at?
Don't know he claimed it.
He claimed it? My man. All right.
There you go.
Congratulations
sir.
to
Appreciate
Ant
you.
House Beats. Ant House, just hit me up in the Discord or send me a direct message. Let me know what you want, and I got you hooked up, dude. Congratulations to Ant House Beats.
Nice.
My man.
Congrats, sir.
But
Appreciate
the trailer was, I mean, you said you got more questions. A lot of people have more questions.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to go full-blown dive into it, but I do want to point out again at the end of Revolutions, what I was getting at was that Satie asked the Oracle, do you think we'll ever see Neo again? And she says, I suspect so. I mean, that's one of the last fucking lines of Revolutions, and maybe some of y'all probably watched it once, didn't remember, don't care. I also haven't watched it probably in a long time or as much as I have. Was the Oracle in
that trailer? Is she the one that's
Good question. Is that the Oracle?
That's what I was wondering, because when I seen her, I was
like,
is that the younger version of the Oracle?
Could it be? Is it?
I mean, dude, I think it has. I mean, you don't spend a whole shot on somebody giving that very clearly mysterious look.
I'm still trying. I'm pretty sure that the guy he talks to at the end is like, oh, it's exciting. That's the Merovingian. I'm pretty sure. I know he's supposed to be in it, but is that really? But he didn't sound French, so I don't know if that's actually the Frenchman in it. You know, so there's a lot of things going on here, and we always go back to remembering this is where this becomes important, and why, you know, the guys like Cuddles and everybody else says, do we need another Matrix? What does the architect say?
I don't know.
That was in the last trilogy. That was the 6th iteration of the Matrix. They've become very good at what they were doing in wiping out Zion, because it's all about an algorithm. It's all about the remainder, and that's how the one is created. It's all mathematics. Now, the questions are, that shit's irrelevant, very honestly. Because it's relevant in the fact that, yes, this can happen again, because mathematically, and from what the architect says, this can happen, because guess what didn't die last time? The machines and the architects. All Neo said, like, I will help you take care of Smith. We want peace, basically, right? That's all it was. So at this point, it could be another 100 years on Earth, and we don't know. We don't know when the time. Like, how long does this take place? We don't know any of that shit. Is that really Neo? I mean, he looks into the mirror. What does he see when he looked in the mirror that one time? He sees a different face, right?
Yep, multiple different faces.
Are we getting the perspective of his residual virtual self? That's why we see Neo, our Neo, right?
Right.
But when he actually looks in the mirror and everybody else talks to him, they might not see Neo. We don't know that, right?
I see John Wick, so I think this movie is mind blowing.
Sure. But then you've got Trinity, who he's talking to Trinity. But you see, what does Neo? What does the one always see? He sees the coding, right?
Right.
In Trinity, he sees coding because she died in the real world. He was plugged in. So technically, before he died, being plugged in, talking to the machines, they could have downloaded his.
Ooh, Josh says, would the machines and humans living on Earth in peace at the end be a disappointment?
Wouldn't make for a great movie, would it? I mean, very honestly, because if they made peace, well, how are they still going to find an energy source? Because as we know, the sky's been blackened by the humans. You know, during the uprising and the war, during the Second Renaissance, actually, if you remember your Animatrix.
This could be an entire episode.
I could do this for a while.
I do plan on watching the entire trilogy.
Prime Didact. You need to watch it with me and Prime.
I will watch it with you guys.
That's what you need to do.
I'm not doing the bucket of popcorn again. I'm not falling for that shit
this
again.
Is now I
with
know.
the extra butter. I'm not falling for that shit again.
Yes, you are. All jokes aside, I can, no pun intended, I could go down this rabbit hole for a while. And this trailer really opened up a lot of things. Now, I know this is going to sound controversial to everybody as well, too, and I'm going to tell you, I see all the jokes. I've been dealing with it for 20 years and had to defend both Reloaded and Revolutions, and I will do it to the day I die. This is one of my all-time favorite trilogies and series in movies. I watch this yearly, like all the other things that I always watch yearly is just part of my thing. But this is one of the ones that it's huge sci-fi. It's a huge thinker, and yes, there's a reason why this movie can happen. So strap in.
Should be interesting.
Yeah,
could
it
be
very could it be trash. There's
very interesting. Could it be trash? Absolutely, but I hope not. I hope not. All right, Tone.
Yes.
We got another trailer this week.
Yes.
We've been waiting for it. We knew it was coming. I actually thought this series was going to drop in October, but I like what they're doing. They're bringing out Thanksgiving week.
Mm-hmm.
Height. Is the 24th? Is that another Wednesday bit?
24th of November. Are you looking right now?
I'm looking right now because this is another Wednesday bit because I fucking love my Friday stuff, man.
I do too. So honestly, what's really exciting about what we're about to get into here for this trailer? Can I say the trailer yet?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so we're gonna be watching the Hawkeye trailer if you guys have not seen it.
It's a fucking Wednesday bit.
Tried over and over to it just can't drop off 1 and 2 just for sleep for me. You just gotta look at the bigger picture, Forge. Just remember, Forge, the important piece.
It's okay, Forge. It sucked.
Do not try to bend the spoon. Just realize the truth.
There is no spoon.
There is no spoon. This Hawkeye seems to take a lot from what we're hearing, clearly from the title look, from the comics. So this is going to be a pull. This is going to pull a lot of things from the comics.
There's something you want to talk about after the trailer.
Absolutely, and it's got
your interest.
Yep. And it's got. Is it Friday? You said
it's Wednesdays.
Jesus.
But now it launches on 25th. I believe that is the Wednesday before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it is.
That doesn't mean that maybe they'll shift it after Thanksgiving because they won't want to drop it on Thanksgiving or something like that. But by all accounts, this looks like this might be another Wednesday title.
But really excited. A lot of people are because this is going to pull what looks like straight from the story of all this with Kate Bishop and we'll just say Jeremy Renner. Roll that beautiful beam footage.
Let's go. Let's check it out. The trailer for Hawkeye.
This is the first Christmas we've had together
Sound like the beginning of Star Trek.
in years.
I love you guys.
Caught me off every time.
I'm making up for some lost time.
Authorities are wondering if the masked vigilante who terrorized the city's underworld is back.
The past has caught up with me.
Should we be worried?
No, it's nothing. I'll be home for Christmas. I promise.
It's the most wonderful time.
When I wore this suit, I made a whole lot of enemies.
You're a Hawkeye.
Who the hell are you?
Some people have actually called me the world's greatest archer.
Are you one of those people?
It's the most wonderful.
Hey, babe, I should be back in a day or two. Hang on a second.
With the kids jingle belling and
Grab the little top off the
Things
back.
have gotten more complicated.
Listen, Barton is a smart ass. I'm so glad they finally developed him to be more like that. He was not like the character. This is more of our.
it's the most wonderful time. Yes, the most.
This is too dangerous. Definitely not this one.
You don't have to say definitely like that.
card.
Holy shit.
A lot of it, like, I'm talking near scene to scene on some of this stuff. It's like very. Yep, Lucky the dog.
It's just some Christmas.
He looks like kind of like a Bond a little bit, and he's just kind of goofing. Like, yeah, man, that's really exciting. I
want to see something real quick
because
I want.
we've had together.
That was Star Trek.
There's one scene where somebody is looking down. Hang on a second, guys. I just want to see something.
Are you one of those people?
It's the most wonderful.
Hey, babe, I should be back in a day or two. Hang on a second.
With the kids jingle belling and
I want to see if there's a scene where somebody's looking down in the red light, and it looked like Florence Pugh. Yeah, it looked like Florence Pugh. Hang on one second, because we saw that at the end of Black Widow.
Yeah.
Right.
it's the most wonderful time. Yes, the most.
Is that her?
No, it did not look like her. No.
Hold on
That's her mom. That's Kate Bishop's mom.
Okay. Yeah, no, I don't think that's her. But she's got to be in. She's got to be in the show, right?
He's too drunk for this. You got to knock it off. He's gonna fall off his chair. She's got to be in the show. That's what they're setting up with Val. So
right. Okay. So yeah, here we go. We see the trailer, and obviously Haley Steinfeld, who is an amazing actress. She is fucking awesome. I'm a big fan of hers.
yeah, you got like 3 posters.
It's 5, and Jeremy Renner. So I mean, this like you talked about before the show. You said like we don't get too many holiday or movies that in the MCU that are surrounded by the holidays. And this is going to drop on Thanksgiving week. It's based around Christmas, so I mean, you can have a lot of fun with themes and like movies like this around the holidays.
Rockefeller.
I'm actually a huge fan of like Jeremy Renner. I love Jeremy Renner. I think he's an amazing actor, and for him to come back play Hawkeye in a series, to kind of like now, is this before Spider-Man or is it after? Is Spider-Man in December or early? I think that
Spider-Man's in December.
Okay, so this sets up before Spider-Man, but after Eternals.
Right, and Eternals is we don't know where that's going to fit.
Eternals is like Eternals is like 2 weeks before this.
Yeah.
So we do know. Yeah. Okay. So between Eternals and Spider-Man. Okay, go ahead. Your thoughts though overall.
Overall, this looks great. This looks like a very buddy cop-ish. Like he's teaching her the comeuppance.
Yeah.
He wants to retire.
She can't quite nail the falling backwards.
Right. He's trying to get away from this life. We got to create the Young Avengers somehow. This is Kate Bishop. We got to pass that buck a little bit. We got little versions of Iron Man coming. We've got a new Captain America. Like the bucks get passed eventually for these different phases and different characters.
And you always give them like capable actors, and obviously Haley Steinfeld is
right.
You're
going to invest
actress.
in somebody like Haley Steinfeld because you're thinking like, okay, we're going to start you on the series, then we need to get you into the MCU like big screen.
Yep.
So absolutely. That's why you want prolific people involved. So.
Right. So I mean, yeah, dope ass trailer. I mean, the vibe from it was very fun. You know, there's gonna be some good action. There's gonna be some humor.
There's gonna be one-liners.
The Marvel levity that people either love or hate. You know, you're gonna have some humor, but
which is important because this character specifically is all about that levity. Like
exactly.
Barton is always a fucking.
He's always got that wise.
He's a wise ass.
Yeah, he's a wise
all
ass
the time.
And you can tell Haley Steinfeld she can deliver quips. She's obviously a very funny person when she wants to be, when she's given the right material. So you got a good pairing here, very talented duo. But Tone, there's some stuff about this timeline and where this is based on that you're curious about.
Really, really, really excited. So after this trailer came out, a certain Vincent
D'Onofrio,
a.k.a. Wilson Fisk of the Netflix series Daredevil, who
also Private Piles.
Don't forget that, yeah.
Well,
and
no,
also your favorite character in Jurassic World. But anyways, I digress.
Not all of his roles are great.
So yeah, right. He's actually in a lot of fucking shit, by the way.
But I mean, the thing, you know what I like about Vincent D'Onofrio is much like Nicolas Cage, some other
he's
actors,
110% all time.
He is in 110%. He will never fucking short. Dude, did you ever see Death Wish with Bruce Willis?
Yeah, a long time ago.
Vincent D'Onofrio was in it.
Yeah.
Probably the best part of the movie.
Oh yeah,
yeah, because it was like you could just tell. I mean, he didn't want to be there, but they paid him, and he's like, I'm gonna fucking commit.
Fuck it,
so
right?
He's good in it. Yeah, D'Onofrio is always good, always good. Always bet on D'Onofrio.
He tweeted some random quote thing that people were deciphering as I don't remember exactly. Yeah, exactly. He was what guy was his name?
The Egger suit.
Egger suit. Yeah.
Move my cat.
That guy. Anyways, he tweeted something out that was very it wasn't cryptic. It was some saying or whatever, but a longer quote. So a lot of people think that he could be actually recanonized under the MCU into this because Wilson Fisk, a.k.a. the Kingpin, you see all these guys that they're fighting, and to page by page nearly for some of the things going on here from the Hawkeye comic that he's teaching Kate Bishop. They're dealing with these tracksuit folks, like this Russian bunch of guys, these street level dudes, these thugs.
Yep.
Well, in the comics, guess who hires
Look pretty
them?
familiar?
Guess who hires them? That's certainly Mr. Wilson Fisk, a.k.a. the Kingpin. So everybody is pretty sure that just like we think Charlie Cox is going to be the lawyer in the Spider-Man movie, Wilson Fisk will probably be that same character. Vincent will come back and
I don't know if the world is ready for where they're going with this stuff, dude. And the people that are going to be bringing in and giving these characters.
Listen, very honestly, like, and just in general, and I think maybe I'm hopefully getting your train of thought. When guys like, and listen, I know they're at the end of their career, so they're going to take some Big Mac bucks and a couple $1,000s. But when guys like Kurt Russell and Stallone sign up and get on board, that starts saying, okay, maybe they're late in their years for sure, and people can use that as an excuse. But that says that money doesn't just talk. Like, these guys are saying these are the movies in Hollywood right now that are making money. Listen, I know not everybody's a fan of the way that Disney does it.
I think I know where you're going with this. I just want to say, like, not so much for Stallone, but like somebody like Kurt Russell, who is always interested in doing like pieces that are challenging.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying like these roles aren't challenging, but for him to be like, I'm gonna go do this, that says a lot.
That's
about the quality of the character. But
yeah,
go ahead.
Just generally, because like, there's some people out there that are big into movies that don't like the way big studios like Disney run things. They have like here's some bullet points, hit these bullet points, paint the box. They feel like it stifles like director creativity, and I don't necessarily agree with that. I just feel like if there's a formula that works that makes everybody some money and it's entertainment and it's better than just your normal popcorn flick movies because they've got material to go on, then it's not going to fucking stop. Guess what, guys? Buckle in. Either you're on the train or you're not, because this is not going away anytime soon at all. And at one point I'd say spaghetti westerns were the big thing in Hollywood. Well, guess what? These are that sort of thing. This is not going away for a while. So it's exciting to see this continue to grow. As a fan, as a kid who got shit on for reading comics and a nerd or whatever in the 90s, blah blah blah. Look, we're here. This is where we're at, and I want more of it. So.
You get the last laugh. You really do.
It's just ironic when I see some of the people that are into this shit that I was like, bro, you what?
See, I don't make fun of you because of your love for comics. I make fun of you because you fucking don't understand horror movies at all. So, as we segue gently into our next topic with a dig, it's time to move on to some movie reviews, Stone.
Yay.
7 Dungeons, wake up. Let's talk about Malignant.
Yeah, why don't you
let's talk about James Wan's.
Why don't you talk about it?
Malignant. Well, because yours is quicker. We'll get your brief synopsis.
I'm not starting.
No, we're going to you first because your synopsis. I'll quote your synopsis. I got you covered.
What was my synopsis?
Malignant dropped on HBO Max this past weekend. A lot of hype. I was hyped. I got tone hyped.
I was fucking hyped.
I got tone hyped.
Yeah.
It's James Wan. I'm a big fan of James Wan.
Which
I love
is
his
the
horror
rating
movies.
of the movie is 1?
I love his movies. Absolutely loved in the Insidious series. I love the Conjuring series. The third one was okay, but not the best one. And he didn't have anything to do with that one, mind you. But he's also made some great movies. He's made Aquaman. And what was the other one that he did that was actually a big hit for Warner Brothers?
Oh, he did Aquaman?
He did Aquaman. He directed Aquaman. There was another one that he did that was a big hit. But anyways, big fan of James Wan. Okay. And Tone?
Yep.
Tone's synopsis was this. It was fucking stupid.
There you go.
There's Tone's synopsis.
See, now this is where I think it's important now that we've been able to be in the same room and have that discussion.
Oh, now we're doing bullet points.
And
now we're doing asterisks and stuff.
Okay, good. Because I had a good conversation with Ant House on Twitter and with you now before we were able to talk about the show, where my mindset was and why. We'll talk about that, but please continue.
Okay, so actually, no. I want you to tell me because it's gonna make it easier for me to compare where I'm coming from, where you're coming from. When you went in and saw this movie,
yes,
what were you hoping for?
I was hoping for some fucking crazy ass, gory, like no matter if it was paranormal or whatever it was gonna be this just wild horror ride. That's what I was looking for. That's what I was. Sold on at the very least, like a dark, like suspenseful, whatever. Like when you read it, she's like she's got visions of these deaths. Like, whoa, what does that fucking mean? There's a big thing coming at her eyeball. That looks fucking cool. I'm excited about it, and it kicked off the movie in the first like 10 or 15 minutes. I'm like, fucking sweet.
Sure.
The end.
Absolutely. Okay.
That's where I was at. Yes.
And so now we understand what Tone was going in, what he was expecting, and I agree with him 100%. Because when I was going into this, first of all, I'm a huge fan of James Wan. And maybe not everyone's familiar with his work. Maybe not everyone's a fan of his work, but I love the guy's ability to direct a horror movie. He's a visionary. He does some great camera work with his horror. He builds great tension. He's all about the good, well-placed jump scares. He doesn't abuse them. They're well-placed, well-timed jump scares. And a lot of his horror is also stuff that it doesn't put in your face right away. It's always off-screen stuff. He's very good at doing like stuff like you're like, oh, wait a minute, what the fuck was that?
Right.
Stuff like that. So I dig the guy's vision as a horror director. But I also know when I think of James Wan, I think of Insidious and I think of The Conjuring.
Right.
I think of slow building, horror, tension, disturbing visuals, jump scares, like just genuine terror. And so and couple that with the fucking trailer for this movie. You and I both saw this trailer. We're like, man, this looks fucking terrifying. This might be his best one yet.
I was really excited.
I was really excited too because I know what to expect from James Wan. I know what to expect from him. And so I start the movie. I'm watching it. And, it's Tricky Regent mentioned it in the Discord, and he was like, man, the first 5 minutes of this movie are terrible. And I will be the first to admit, through the first 10, 15 minutes, I was like, something is off. Something's off here. And I don't know, maybe it's just, in the short budget or whatever, but for what this guy has done for Warner Brothers, creating the Conjuring universe and the Insidious universe and doing Aquaman, he had another big hit. Oh, I think he did one of the Fast movies. Fast 9. I think he did 8 or 7. One of those. He's made a lot of fucking money. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe they just gave him a blank check and said, hey, man, do your thing. Mm. But I'm watching it. I'm like, something is off with this movie. The acting is uneven. And I mean uneven. The music, the soundtrack is not like the other movies. It wasn't like tension in most scenes. And there were some, like, don't get me wrong, there are some scenes that are very tense, and he does a good job of crafting some like legitimate terror in the movie. But overall, like the music was off, the acting was uneven. There were these weird, bizarre attempts at humor, and I'm honestly thinking about an hour in, I'm like, is this gonna be his first dud? Is this going to be his first bomb? I mean, there were, like, first of all, and in the first hour, you still get some decent scares. You get some gory kills. There's some really good kills where the camera doesn't pan away. Like, you see somebody carving up somebody's face. It doesn't cut away and you just see, like, a different angle. You're watching somebody's face get demolished. And you're like, fuck, man, that's okay. He nails that. But something is off. Think of it. There's something so weird about this movie. Something is off. And finally, you get to the twist. And I'm not going to share it because I don't feel like a lot of people have seen it yet, so we won't get into it. But there's a twist, a reveal in the movie. Annabelle Wallis's character, she basically is this girl. She's domestic abuse with her fiance. They get into a fight. She wakes up the next morning. He is fucked up. He's fucked up. And after that, she is starting to she's starting to see these horrific murders. She's witnessing them somehow. And so we get to the twist of her character and everything that's going on. And it's at that moment where I feel like it's all about interpretation and it's all about understanding what's really going on. And I'm not saying people didn't understand what's going on, but I do feel like the marketing for this movie and people's expectations, mine included, were off. And when you get the reveal and the shit that happens after the reveal, for myself, and it's different for everybody, when I saw the twist, everything that happened prior made sense to me. Because the twist is so fucking far over the top. And as the guys are mentioning in the chat, the police station sequence is so over the top everything else happening prior makes total sense to me now. I actually went back and watched it the next day. The movie makes sense when you go in and understand what it is. And this, you guys and gals, is an homage to 80s campy-ass horror movies, which is a genre of itself, and it's almost a lost art form. You don't see a lot of camp-ass movies made anymore. You really don't, because in this, now it's all about, the modern horror movie is about psychological horror, Hereditary, Midsummer, Conjuring. All these other movies are about like psychological, and they touch on heady themes like trauma and really fucking shit that'll hurt you to the core. But when I look at this movie, and I think you would agree to an extent, we celebrated Sleepaway Camp not more than 3 months ago. And that was an 80s movie with a fucking whoa twist. But throughout the entire movie, we said, this acting is terrible. There's some weird humor. There's some good gore. And there's a fucking weird twist. Now, look, this isn't shot like an 80s movie. It's not shot like an 80s movie. But it's a modern take on 80s camp humor. And I get it. People went in expecting a certain horror movie. I did too. But when I watched this a second time, and there's a great interview that James Wan did with Bloody Disgusting prior to the release of the movie, where he blatantly said, this is not a movie you guys are going to expect. This is not my typical horror film. And he goes into it furthermore, and I don't want to like get into it because it might spoil some of the stuff that happened. But I actually went back a second time with the right mindset, and I'm not saying people are wrong for having the wrong expectations. The trailer set this up like a typical James Wan movie. James Wan is directing. Everyone wants James Wan horror. It's not what we got. But what we did get was a bold choice by James Wan to try something completely fucking different. I honestly don't think he expected this movie. No, he did. He knew exactly what he was doing. He talks about it in the interview. Anybody that went in expecting a James Wan psychological horror movie, rightfully so, didn't understand what he was trying to do. It's really that simple. And it's not a shot at anybody because I came in expecting something completely different. But when we got that twist, everything else made sense. Yes, I did. I watched it twice. I had to watch it twice. There's no way James Wan is going to come out and make a fucking super like thought-provoking horror movie and have that fucking twist. Because like you, when that twist popped up, I was like, what? Laughing like, holy shit. But that's intentional. And if you go read his interview, if you want to sit there and tell me, I don't think James Wan knew what he was doing, when James Wan tells you what he's doing in the interview, sorry, dude. Your opinion doesn't matter. I'll listen to James Wan, who dropped this interview before the show came out. He told us it's not what you expect. He's paying homage to a certain genre of horror that has long past been gone and people don't do. And I'm not mad at anybody who doesn't like this movie. That's fine. But man, when we got that reveal, that twist, I'm in the camp that said, I like what you've done here. Now, is this gonna be the greatest horror movie I've ever seen? No. But for what he did, and the fact that James Wan said, fuck it, I don't want to go out and make another movie where everyone's like, yeah, typical James Wan movie. He fucking threw a curveball. And you know what, dude? When the police scene kicked in, I took everything that I realized what was going on beforehand and the reveal, and I was like, you know what, dude? Okay, I'm on board. Dude realized 3/4 of the way through the film he had a shit movie. He wrote the movie. He would have known he had a shit movie. Cool. Seven Dungeons. Yeah. Seven Dungeons is also the guy that comes out and says, I don't look at the director who's making a movie. Okay. Don't buy that at all. If somebody tells me Martin Scorsese's making a movie, that has an impact on me. Somebody says Steven Spielberg or Tarantino's making a movie, and that has an impact. Okay, cool, Dungeons. I don't buy that at all, but that's cool. But no, this he made the movie he wanted to make. And he did a great job at it for the movie he's trying to make. Now, I do hope James Wan goes out and makes another James Wan horror movie because we know what he can do. We've seen it. But kudos to him for trying something different and doing something. That's fine. I understand that, but I'm just saying, dude. And see, now he's like, I don't know who James Wan is, but you know who Spielberg and Scorsese is. And if you find out a movie's being made by them, that's going to affect how you go into the movie. I don't believe it because you just said I don't even know who James Wan is. Other people who know horror know who James Wan is. He's done a great job. And if you go look at The Conjuring, that's cool, whatever, dude. But like you go into Conjuring and you see Insidious, I know what to expect from him. But it was like, for what he did to be able to make this bold decision to pay homage to a movie, a type of horror that doesn't go over well anymore, I loved it. I think he nailed it. Now, will this be a cult classic at the end of the day? Probably, because if you look at it, there's either people who love it or they fucking hate it.
Oh, it's very like split right now.
And like and I was like, man, am I just a weirdo? But I go online and I see people who love horror, who are legitimate horror people, and they're like, I love it, I hate it, I'm cool, I don't give a shit, I enjoyed it. I went back and watched it a second time, and I was like, cool, man, I understand what he's trying to do here. I dig it. And that's just where I'm at. I mean, it's going to be it's a very, very divisive movie right now. It really is.
It is. And like, I still don't know where I missed a lot of that. Like, very honestly, even when the reveal happened while they're in the hospital, like I was still in on that. I was still like, okay, that's cool. Like, cool. But it was again, when you get to the police station, once that all started, that's where I was like, what the exact fuck is going on here? And that's where at that point I realized, well, for me, I was just completely like, well, this is fucking stupid. Because I felt like I thought at that point still that somebody wanted me to buy into this because I felt like everybody wanted me to believe that this was still actually part of the story. What I didn't get until Saturday, clearly, when we're driving to fucking cornfields, was that this was intentional. So I had to sleep on it because, like, again, like when you got hold of me, you were saying a bunch of stuff, and I'm like, I gotta whatever in the morning, I gotta whatever. I'm trying to sleep, but it was fucking stupid. I was like, it's fucking stupid. Like I was so mad.
Dude, I am with you. Like through the first hour,
like,
I was like, something is seriously fucking off with this
even
movie.
Like, well, the trophy thing I thought was a weird. I'm like, what a weird fucking weapon.
Campy as fuck, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And everything about some of the things when I think about it, I'm like, like again, but some of that stuff was so good, I was like buying into it.
Yep. And I mean, and to his credit, he said in the interview, like, look, I'm making a horror movie that isn't like the ones I made before. It's for the diehard horror fans from back in the day that have been with me from the start with my own spin on it. And there are lots of elements of his previous movies. Like I said, the guy is the master of camera work. There's a shot where Annabelle Wallace's character is running through her house, trying to escape. It's at the beginning. And the camera is above the house, following her through the entire house. One of the best shots in the movie. Like the way the guy knows how, exactly, just like 12 minutes. I mean, he does some incredible camera work. So, I mean, like I said, I appreciate his work, and I do. I hope to God we get back to one of his other horror movies. But when that scene popped up and everything happened, I was like, okay, this thing is supernatural as fuck. It's affecting lights. It's affecting electricity. I mean, to see this thing going through the police station the way it was, considering everything that's happened prior to, makes a lot of sense.
I was just like,
makes a lot of sense.
I was so fucking mad. I'm like, what the fuck is happening? Like, right? Because I'm thinking, am I supposed to believe even which was weird where I was at was because like the paranormal stuff to me like almost made more sense.
But at the same time, it's not a movie for you to sit. It's like the movies like Ghoulies and Chud and all that stuff back in the day where it's just nothing makes sense. It's just about absurd, over the top bullshit.
But that was my problem.
Right, exactly.
I didn't know that because I'm coming from James Wan. What little I know of him from certain movies, like Aquaman's a whole other topic. But like the other movies that he did, I'm like, these are supposed to be like cult hit, like crazy scary stuff, and then like. I get to this point, I'm like, am I supposed to believe? Like, how am I supposed to believe this? So, anyways, I digress. But yeah, it really threw me off. So I do say I feel like I need to watch it again.
And at the end of the day,
with some more perspective, maybe. But I don't know if it'll change my mind. But
even if it doesn't, I mean, that's what I've really enjoyed most about this, man, is the conversations that people have had, like on social media. I've gone into forums and the debates back and forth. People are actually like presenting like actual reasons why they don't like it, and I'm like. That makes sense. I understand why they didn't like it. There's plot holes everywhere.
Oh,
but,
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
if you look at the type of movie he's mimicking and he's paying an homage to, a lot of like, dude, again, I'm going to lean right back into fucking Sleepaway Camp. Like, why would that camp stay open after 2 people or 3 people have been murdered?
Right,
I mean, you're just like, this is fucking stupid.
Right.
It's absurd. But it's the reveal, the holy shit moment.
Why would her best friend drive to the fucking cliff like
Literally makes no
at
sense.
nighttime by herself?
Like I said, that's how, dude. As soon as that reveal happened with the reveal, I was just like, okay, this is what we're doing. And then I looked back at everything that happened prior to. I was like, okay, this is actually a pretty good move. Now I understand things a little bit. There's not a lot of people that got hit with that or that understand that, and I understand because, man, at the end of the day, the way this shit was fucking marketed. The way the trailer came out, I would have never saw that coming.
Yep, I think it sold.
The fact that it's a James Wan movie, would have never saw that coming. It was really a fucking just a crazy one. Got to hit the hay. Hey, Crash, thanks for staying by, buddy. Have a good night, dude. But I mean, like, look, I'm not gonna say this is the best horror movie I've ever seen. I've seen a lot of great horror movies. I just think it was a really interesting choice for him to kind of like pay a little love to a genre of horror that is almost like a lost art form.
So
and I dig it.
Now, not that they're the same, but I do want to give some perspective to you on this, though, from my standpoint. And it has actually nothing to do with this movie, but a little bit. Now, think about what I've had to do for 20 years trying to explain why the Matrix trilogy is not as trash as everybody else. There is a perspective there that sometimes I feel like in this, and now clearly there's not a lot of similarities here, but like for me, I didn't know what I was getting into. I missed that mark, and by the time I got near the end, when it was trying to come to that crescendo, I was still bought into like taking it seriously. And I don't, and I feel like I'm not alone on that. Like
no, you're not absolutely at all.
And so that really threw me off. But anyways, it's just crazy because it's even got our own community. Like there's like 2 different sides. Like here, it's like a whole thing, and the conversation's all over. Like.
It's divisive as fuck, and you know what? So. It's. I thought it was entertaining as fuck to a degree, and I would watch it again because I love gore. But no, man, it was cool. It was a cool take by James Wan. Eventually, he's gonna get back to his old roots, and I'll be happy with that. But man, when the reveal happened, and then the police station gets took out, I was just like, okay, I'm on board for this. Let me see this shit. And people get fucked up, and that's all I want from a horror movie like that. So, I mean,
yeah, it
was an interesting take, and I'm gonna be really curious to see how this movie handles the test of time. You know, will it become a cult classic? I think whenever you have a movie that is so divisive like this, I think about another movie like The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing. When that came out, almost universally panned. It bombed at the box office. It launched just after E.T., I believe it was. So E.T., you know, everyone's got the loving alien, and then Carpenter comes out with the thing, and it was super over the top and gory. But man, that thing has stood the test of time. It is now considered one of his best movies. It's considered a cult classic. A lot of people love it, and that's because it was so divisive. And it was just, I feel like that's where we're at right now. And I'm happy with it. And if people don't like it, that's totally fine. I get it. Just please provide something as to why you didn't like it. That's all I ask for. But no, this will be something that we might talk about for a long time, or it might just something that goes under the bridge. I have no idea.
It's definitely gonna be there's definitely gonna be bits for a while on this. I can already tell.
Yeah. So if you get a chance, check it out. It's not terribly long. I think it's like about maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours.
No, it's
2 hours.
It's actually 2.
Is it 2 hours? Okay.
Yeah, trust me, because I actually paused. I think during some of the scenes.
Just understand, there's more to horror than just psychological horror. There's more to horror than that. There are all sorts of subgenres. There's all sorts of different ways to take it. This is not the horror film that you're expecting.
It's meant to be kind of a satire.
Modern horror right now is not what you'll get from this movie. So be curious to get your thoughts. If you watch it, sound off in the comments. Let us know. Hit us up on Twitter. Hit us in the DMs. I knew this was going to be a lengthy talk. Tone, let's get to the next topic. We have another movie we wanted to talk about. That is the movie Kate.
Yep.
Available now on Netflix. Starring Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Woody Harrelson, and a bunch of other irrelevant actors. And Tom, I'm going to let you lead this one off, dude. We're big fans of Mary Elizabeth Elizabeth Winstead. Talk to me about Kate, brother.
I actually had a lot of high hopes for this, but I was also had some apprehensions because this is kind of out of her realm. And I've said it right out the get was that I felt like this would be something like you'd see like Charlize Theron in. But after seeing Fargo, it showed me that Mary Elizabeth had a little bit extra range. So I was really kind of going into it with a lot of like kind of like this high because it looked cool. The trailer looked really sweet, but this open like thought process of expectation, right? Overall, for me, the movie was all right. It was okay. I don't necessarily say it was good. The things that I like in movies like this are definitely the action, and I thought the action was awesome. Like I know you were kind of hit or miss on some of it, but I really like over the top fighting, and I just like when people are getting stabbed weirdly or things like that,
Dude,
or just getting
the
chopped
fingers
up,
cut off, and then the one through the face.
all
was
the shit.
incredible.
Like it was really ridiculous, and you know it's a shame that the story was kind of meh, and it's a shame that some of the characters that I really like didn't or what is it, Hollywood actor or whatever you know, didn't get enough shine in this as well too because they're attached to it. But really, at the end of the day, I don't know if it's something I'll watch ever again. I do say at least watch it. There's some value there. I've seen much worse movies. It's not Cosmic Sin. It's not Jujitsu. it's not like that kind of movie.
Not Malignant.
It's not Malignant. You know, but you know, it's pretty straightforward for the most part. The story is it's the whole thing's predictable.
Right.
Like if you couldn't figure out with the one actor. If you couldn't figure any of that out, you were sleeping.
It's not even a fucking twist.
It's not even at all. So, but again, I really liked what she was doing here. I thought it was awesome to kind of see her in this role.
Yeah.
And apparently we thought the same fucking thing, which was really crazy. There's a part in it where her hair keeps getting chopped off, and the first thing I think of, and looked right at the wife and said, "Oh, Ripley? Is this Ripley? Like, is that Sigourney?" And I got that vibe. And even she had that look, because she had kind of like this jumpy suit like look and everything. There was this whole vibe there. And as anybody knows, of course, I love aliens. I love Sigourney Weaver. I love Ripley. So definitely got that weird vibe. But overall, it was definitely kind of a letdown. And it's a shame because it really looked like it had a lot of potential for being something out of her wheelhouse. But she wasn't the problem.
First of all, I absolutely love Mary Elizabeth Winstead. We've seen in previous movies. We've seen her in Die Hard movie. No, she didn't get a whole lot of action in that. But you know, she was in the prequel to The Thing. We know she can handle action. She's a capable action lead, more than capable action lead.
She was in that too.
But yeah, like you mentioned, like as I'm watching this, I'm like, okay, dude, if we do an Alien reboot where we're following the story of Amanda Ripley, if we're considering Alien Isolation as canon, if they cast anyone other than Mary Elizabeth Winstead, it is a fucking fail of epic proportions.
And that's the best takeaway of the entire movie, truth be told.
She deserves better, is what I'm saying. Like, she is great in this movie. She handles action great. She you know, with what material she's given in terms of, like, writing in the scenes where there's not action, she does the best she can with it. She commands the screen. She has the charisma. She has the ability to be an amazing lead actor in an action movie. But, you know, Tone mentions the action. There are some really great scenes. There's a lot of other action scenes that are generic as fuck and they're done better in other movies. But when this movie stops the action to actually get into the story and dialogue, this movie is fucking terrible. It is an absolute just awful movie when it comes to its story. It's fucking garbage. And when it gets bogged down with the talking and the chatty stuff, I was like, okay, this is fucking stupid. I'm gonna go to the bathroom. I'm gonna get something to eat. I'll come back when people start getting their fucking faces cut off again. But yeah, the story in this movie is weak as fuck. It's nonsensical. It was just blah blah in between some decent action. Woody Harrelson's character is basically every Bruce Willis character, not in terms of its performance, but how he's utilized. He shows up at the beginning, he shows up in the middle, and he shows up at the end for some kind of a weak ass reveal. I don't care. I mean, it's you can see it a mile away. You know exactly what's going to happen with his character. But yeah, this is a forgettable flick. It was fun. It was cool to watch at the moment, but come next month, I'm not even going to remember this movie. And I really, really do hope that going forward, Mary Elizabeth Winstead gets some better writing, better stories for her action movies, because when it comes to ass kicking, she's fucking dope as hell. She's amazing. She's really convincing. She's very good. She's athletic. She can handle her own. But yeah, the story in this movie is what really fails it. You know, you mentioned the Japanese setting and a lot of the culture and the lighting and the music.
Yeah.
It's all dope. It's all great, but it's let down by just a really stupid fucking story that's not interesting. This will be a movie I'll completely forget about in a month, maybe even a week. I don't even know.
There you go.
But could have been a lot better. But she's great in it. You know, she shows she's more than capable. But hopefully she'll get some better work. And please, Disney has the Aliens IP now, right? Because they bought it from 20th Century Fox. Disney, this is your fucking Ripley. This is Amanda Ripley right here. If it doesn't happen, I'm not going to go watch your fucking movie. Simple as that.
Yep.
She's that good. That's
She's
who she needs to be. So, yeah, it's whatever. Forgettable. Let's move on to the final topic, Tone. After last week's episode, which was kind of like, we were indifferent. You were kind of like, man, I was like, it's zombies. I'm cool with it. We're back to a more interesting take. Thought-provoking episode. I don't want to say super thought-provoking, but it was really interesting. It was really interesting.
Yes.
Killmonger is our main focus.
Mm-hmm.
We pair him up with Tony Stark for a little bit. Some shit transpires. We get a wild ending. Tell me about episode 6 here, man.
I really feel like this was one of the strongest episodes. If there was a debate to whether this was as strong as the Doctor Strange episode, which seems to be most everybody's favorite, I think that would be hard to debate, very honestly. Clearly that was its own. It was a great episode. There was a lot going on there, but this was a really good fucking episode. I felt like, unlike a lot of the other ones, not a lot of them, but some of them have felt like, I get the what if, the mashups can feel like a little weird, maybe to some degree. This whole thing was
really
very
cool.
an elaborate story they
The
kind of told
setup
out.
to bring them together was pretty deep.
And Screen Crush keeps saying it about these. These have been so good. Like some of them, like I definitely think the zombies would benefit from a more fleshed out, longer.
Sure.
This felt like, first of all, because it was 40 minutes, it felt like a movie.
Yeah, it was a
like
beefier
this
update.
would have been a good fucking movie. Like that's how good I feel like this one was. Like it was the first one with Carter, Captain Carter. I loved it because I love the Captain America story. I love that all that entire thing with World War II and stuff like that. And it was a fun. It made sense. Everything was going on. This was definitely more like really just grounded. And I got to tell you, I don't know if Michael B. Jordan was actually the voice in this, and I thought he was.
It sounded like him, dude.
But I having Andy Serkis at least as a voice is very important to me because
Andy Serkis, yes.
No one can do him.
It was him. Okay,
I thought
Michael
it was
B.
Him. Okay. And of course we had Chadwick, of course, who did. Thankfully, we got all these voices before he passed to do these. But
I just thought it was gonna be the one episode where we got him, but we've got multiple episodes now with
three or
Chadwick.
four so far, or at least whatever.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, but again, this episode was fantastic. I really, again, it was well thought out. It was an interesting spin that, like a lot of the other ones, like all the Avengers getting killed in the one episode, like that was a really like worst case scenario. What if this was a what if that was like, it was like a butterfly effect to me, like this little thing, this little ripple could turn into a tsunami, and by the end, like it was really fucking cool. Like I really enjoyed it. Like I'm never ever gonna get sick of anything involving Wakanda. Period. Wakanda is Black Panther is one of my favorite movies of the MCU. It's in my top 5 easily. I love the music. I love the soundtrack. I love the characters. Just love everything about that culture because it's very sci-fi.
Sure.
And so more of that was fantastic, and I felt like it was a different way to flesh out this character, which was unique.
Mm-hmm.
It was a little bit younger. The time they showed the time off really well because it was earlier than the Black Panther time frame. In the actual MCU. But we got more Tony Stark again, which seems to be a pretty big central piece of all these. And just the trajectory that you see him going to, and the perspective what the Watcher was saying, like, with the heroes and the villains and how they build. So it was really neat to see where that went. And we didn't get all the things that we would expect that we'd want from somebody like who would be Iron Man or not at that point. But where I thought the story was going to end up more focusing on one, it actually turned and kind of focused on more on Killmonger, which I guess I didn't realize was going to do like that. I thought it was going to be more about Stark, who was going to be a bigger hand in it, and
sure,
he really wasn't. And
he wasn't at all.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, I thought this was a great episode this would have been awesome if it was an actual MCU movie, just like an
really
alternative
cool.
movie.
Like I said, the premise of the beginning and everything they said, I was like, oh, that's really
right.
interesting. Yeah.
Like Doctor Strange worked in the time frame that it worked. I feel like I don't know if that would work in like a hour and a half, 2 hour movie, but I felt like this one could have stood on its own as a full-fledged movie and would have been like, man, that's awesome. Like that was really cool. So
right.
I can't speak my praise high enough for this. I think this is one of the strongest episodes, which I'm glad because I felt like, again, the zombies one was a little weak for me, and I felt like, you know, we needed another one of these ones. So.
And the thing that still stands out with this show every week and every time I watch it on a big screen TV is just the animation.
Yeah.
This show fucking looks really, really good. Like, the animation is great. There is so much detail and so many different, like, angles where they have characters move around. You're like, man, this shit looks really, really... There's, like, a lot of 3D effect stuff. You know, sometimes with cartoons and, like, animated stuff, it kind of blends together. There's not a whole lot of depth. There's just so
they
much
do really good
different
with shading and give that
depth and
yep.
angles. It looks so good in motion. Like, it looks really fucking good. So... yeah, really pleased with this series so far. How many episodes did we say there was? 10 or 11?
Do we have 2 more left? Maybe I don't know. I really don't remember.
I'm trying to think. I want to say it was like 10 or 11. It was less. It was more than what we got the last couple.
Yeah, yep. You notice there's smaller, younger versions of them characters. Yep. 7D and Ant House kind of putting that together out there as well too. And that's it right there. Ant House. I think it made, like, compared to the other what ifs, this made sense more. I think that's why it's easier to take in. Maybe even like
wasn't so much of a stretch as like
it wasn't so much
of
a stretch because, you know, yes, Killmonger would have been maybe in that area killing people as a Navy SEAL and doing things like that. Makes sense. It makes sense. So, you know, unlike the other what ifs, which are, you know, and they're supposed to be really what ifs. This one just felt more grounded in a way, and I think that's why it was so good. But again, we're also getting involved in characters that have been like, Tony Stark's been a pillar and a backbone, if not the spine of the entire MCU. And then you get something that's just completely beloved, like, you know, anything involving Wakanda.
Right.
You know, it was just a great recipe for a really good, awesome story. So kudos to the writers on this one because this is going to be a tough one for me. This might have been my favorite episode so far of the entire series.
Really?
Yeah, I'm there. Like the Doctor Strange one is really close too. But man, like I said, I thought this was well written.
Big fan, huh?
Mm-hmm.
All right, man. No, I dig it. I appreciate that. And, Tone, that's going to do it for tonight's show.
Yeah.
Had some really good conversations, lots of good topics. This weekend. Now, I don't know what's dropping on Friday in terms of VODs. Like I said, these studios all have these different release windows. You know, these stipulations, you know, play in the theater for so long, then it comes out. But we do know Friday, it's a Nick Cage weekend.
It is.
Prisoners of the Ghostland will be available Friday on all streaming services, either to rent or buy. One of those two. I don't give a fuck. If I can buy it, I'm going to buy it. If I can rent it, I'll rent it. But Prisoners of the Ghostland, the most batshit crazy Nick Cage movie yet, will be available on Friday. We'll be watching that and whatever else comes out between now and then. Make sure you're in the Discord. We will be talking about anything that's coming out, any trailers that drop. We'll talk about that. Friday night, I'll be streaming Origami 2. We'll see who's all going to be on, do some co-op, do some of that action. Should be a lot of fun. Origami 2 Friday night. Anything else? I might try to stream some Deathloop this weekend, depending on what the schedule looks like. Kids are in full soccer mode right now, so weekends are getting kind of hectic. But, Tone, anything else movie-wise or TV show-wise that we need to watch this weekend?
Not that I can think of. I'm going to be with Forge Hammer in the capital city all weekend, so I probably go to Horcruxes, though.
We're going to Horcrux.
Don't forget, watch for Friday, though. You'll see me blasted all over as well, too, and I'm sure Half-Ass Beer will. The beer quest from this last weekend will be available that day at some point, hopefully in the morning. And then we'll share that with everybody, and we'll love to get your thoughts on that as well, too. We are working on some ideas for that as well to evolve that and make that a little bit more deeper, too. So we're really excited about that. We had a lot of time to talk this weekend because of the long fucking drive to the cornfields. But as far as anything else, I can't think of anything else that's game or anything on the radar. I do want to try Origami. Unfortunately, it'll be a couple days before I can get to that, but I do want to check that out for sure.
It's pretty dope. Tricky says, just wait till travel soccer starts. Actually, Tricky, I'm going to be the world's worst dad and tell my kid he's not good enough to play travel soccer, so I don't have to deal with it. It works.
That's it. Dad of the year.
You know, it works. I'll be the worst father ever. I'm not doing.
Yeah.
You dick. No. You know, my oldest. He had a game tonight. He just wants to be a part of things. He wants to run around. I mean, he likes soccer. He has fun with it. It's my youngest who's going to be the athlete.
Yeah, holy shit.
Yeah, he was having a lot of fun with soccer.
No, he was running around circles around
He
those
was
fucking
running
kids.
circles. Where
They're, like,
Ethan
bigger
just
than
runs
him.
circles around, just everybody just runs circles around him, maybe kick the ball. Actually, I will say he does pretty good in goal. He's made some pretty big stops, some pretty impressive stops. I'm like, okay, you can play goalie because he doesn't have to move around. He's not the most agile, but he's tall and big, so he can close the gap real quick if he comes out and challenges whoever's trying to score. But Anderson is the one that's going to be a problem. He loves it.
Watching some of the shit he's been doing, I'm like, he's running circles around these other fucking kids.
Yeah, he's having a lot of fun.
Yeah.
He's having a lot of fun with it. So that'll
Get
be
that energy out.
It'll be interesting. We'll have 2 games on Saturday, so that'll be fun. But Tone, that's gonna do it for tonight's show.
Mm-hmm.
Appreciate each and every one of you being here, being a part of the show, being a part of the conversation. It's the reason we do this show.
Mm-hmm.
If you and guys and gals weren't here, we wouldn't fucking do it. So it's a lot of fun. We love getting your perspective on stuff. We love having talks about movies, video games, TV shows, wrestling and whatever, beers, pizzas without pineapple. I mean, we're always down for a civil conversation each and every week right here on Twitch. One more thing. When we close out, you're going to hear some awesome music. Please check out Ant House Beats Stream Vibes, available now on iTunes, SoundCloud. I think it's on SoundCloud, Spotify. Anywhere they play good-ass fucking music, you can hear Ant House Beats Stream Vibes. Available now. Check it out. For Fanboytone, I'm TheDude79. Hope everyone has a great weekend. Be safe. We'll see you Friday night for Origami 2. Peace.